As we leave 1980 behind, we must certainly point out that it is not forgotten. Seriously, I'm in the middle of writing my apology letters for forgetting to mention Times Square, The Changeling, Little Darlings, and some other movies in that episode. But we must put on our 1981 party hats because this is the most important year. It's the year I was born. 1981 gave birth to the Cinema Snob and some other movies, I guess. There were plenty of firsts this year, such as the first Indiana Jones movie, the first Cannonball Run movie, the first Tom Cruise movie, and the first Monday in October. Plenty of seconds also. Halloween 2, Friday the 13th Part 2, Mad Max 2, depending on what country you're watching it in. So as we say hello to your go-to running in slow motion music, and Transamerica says goodbye to United Artists after selling it to MGM after Heaven's Gate, let's go back 40 years. I'm old. And have another detailed journey through a year in movies. This coming January, we're gonna have an all-new Scream movie, but let's see how January in movies was different back in '81.
Don't scream.
Well, maybe things haven't changed so much, such as vacations getting ruined.
It began as the perfect weekend vacation.
But it had better end poorly or I'm getting my money back. I need things to go wrong.
What could possibly go wrong?
Oh, plenty. Axes are getting stolen, people are slipping on banana peels, crashing into walls. It's really gonna put a damper on the motorcycle race. This slasher film wasn't without some ambition. The film's writer and director said it was influenced by Agatha Christie's 10 Little Indians. You know, in the same way Terror Train is just like Murder on the Orient Express, but way more R-rated.
Coming to this theater, rated R.
You don't have to tell me that. It's 1981. Even a children's film would get made fun of if it wasn't rated R. Though if you are again wondering how long it will take for a movie featured on the Cinema Snob to show up, congratulations! Only 2 movies. Just like in 1980, again, things don't change. The trailer for Scanners prepares us for the experience of the outer reaches of future shock. Obviously foreshadowing that in 14 years, we'll get the movie Future Shock. Wait a minute, they're not gonna give away the money shot, are they? Well, it's not just that, it's the whole scene. At first I wondered if it was one of those YouTube videos where it's just a clip from the movie but says it's the trailer, but no, it's the trailer. And in fairness, it would absolutely make me want to see this movie. Shut up and take my money shot! There's horror, there's sci-fi, and in January of 1981, you best believe there's more horror.
Every school has them.
30-year-old students. Not to mention cliques. There's the Pink Ladies, the romantic melodramas, the Sometimes They Come Back ghosts, and
every school has its reject.
I'm guessing this ends poorly, given this is a Red Band trailer. This kid is having a hell of a bad time in school.
Andrew, wanna get high, man? I don't need it.
See, after-school specials are always trying to woo him in with drugs. You see, folks, back then, we didn't have to worry about school shootings. We had to worry about Carrie-like supernatural powers.
His revenge.
For instance, the damn loser kid is the devil. He is gonna bring hell on earth to this school of assholes. And you best believe there's dodgeball-like shenanigans, only this time it's gonna break all of your ribs. Whose fault is this?
I am an anti-clown.
Obviously, it's the music's fault. I blame that godless punk rock. Now we've got a Green Band trailer. I take that as meaning no one will be killed by lightning. But if there is lightning, then they shouldn't be at the beach anyway.
Pretty, isn't it?
That's fine, but can something bloody happen? It's called Blood Beach.
The beach is a weird beat for us cops. You've got the kids, the street fiddlers.
Oh, my mistake. It's a film noir now. I love the concept of a gritty Burt Young cop movie infiltrating this horror film about sand monsters.
But under the beach, there was this horrible thing.
Yeah, look, people are finding some weird shit in the sand. It's sucking them under, but maybe while they're down there they can clean up all those damn bottle caps and broken bottles. This movie not only gives you the awesomeness of Burt Young, but it has the awesomeness of John Saxon on standby.
Doctors figure that there's been considerable brain damage.
Vegetable soup.
Excuse me, this movie has room for only one scene stealer. Blood Beach is here to say that if you love Jaws,
Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, you can't get to it.
you'll definitely recognize some lines. And you'll know that whatever is living in the sand, just blow it up. From the water to now the sand, movies like Jaws and Blood Beach are just trying to ruin my entire summer. January is so full of horror that we had to send out for other horror movies released in previous years. Lucio Fulci's Zombie 2 had its original Italian release in 1979, and English-speaking releases in 1980, and then a January 1981 re-release. Perhaps they simply had extra barf bags that they needed to get rid of. I would say this trailer is also giving away the money shot, but this movie has about 12 money shots in it, but this is definitely the ending, I'll say that. At least this movie has a trailer. Earthbound, on the other hand, is one of those where I can't find the trailer, but relax, random clips are available, as well as the whole movie. It's the story of aliens crash landing on Earth and a kindly family taking them in. Critics had no idea what to do. This was before E.T., so they couldn't call it a knockoff. The movie was a rejected TV pilot that was given a limited theatrical release and sold as a movie. It was truly the Mulholland Drive of its time. But it had a bad message. It encouraged the piloting of a spaceship while drunk. This isn't a minor crash, this is an extinction event. Comedy my ass! If you want to know more about the movie, clearly you need to play the Super Nintendo game. There's a smooth transition from horror sci-fi January to other genres as we continue with another sci-fi comedy. Ms. Mom, is this a spin-off I'm not aware of? Ah yes, The Incredible Shrinking Woman, starring a fast-paced Lily Tomlin.
Expert homemaker.
Why things are tough in this household. She can do everything in fast motion. Does she even need to shrink? Here's your problem. You're shrinking, and it probably has something to do with Mad Dr. Henry Gibson. Don't trust him when he plays a doctor. The Incredible Shrinking Woman was the first film from director Joel Schumacher, and it was also written by Tomlin's wife, Jane Wagner, who also wrote and directed 1978's Moment by Moment. Unlike that one, though, this film was a decent success at the box office, helped by Tomlin's comedic genius right off the smash hit 9 to 5. And the impressive visual effects. This movie better not be slapsticky. Things are always farcical in the Charles Grodin household. I'm sure he'll adapt to his shrinking wife just fine.
More champagne?
Oh, you did that on purpose! But while the parents are out seeing the Lily Tomlin comedy, the kids are sneaking out to see Subway Riders from writer-director Amos Poe, one of the first punk rock filmmakers and a main figure behind No Wave Cinema. February 1981 is coming in with quite a bang. It's the story of a psycho sax player who uses his music to lure people away and shoot them. Think Driller Killer if Reno was also his punk rock neighbors. Clearly, though, this is nothing that can't be solved with a little law and order. Thank God we have Officer Paul Newman in Fort Apache, the Bronx. Come on, you all know Paul Newman?
He was a convict in Cool Hand Luke, a pool shark in The Hustler.
And he fought a volcano and when time ran out. What's he doing this time?
Now, Paul Newman has gone straight.
Well, you learn something new about his previous characters every day. Fort Apache, the Bronx is a cop film so gritty, it even helped to inspire the classic cop series Hill Street Blues. But really, this could all be solved fast. Just get Charles Bronson in here. He'll clean up these streets in 5 seconds by just blowing it up. You see, back then we had to just throw criminals off the roof because Batman wasn't there to do this for them. Sadly though, the trailer doesn't feature nearly enough Pam Grier, who is great in this film in an against-type supporting role as a strung-out crazy prostitute who goes around shooting people. Are we gonna get another featured on Cinema Snob movie next?
My Bloody Valentine.
Surprisingly, no. I too am kind of surprised I've never done an episode on My Bloody Valentine. Valentine's Day, of course, being a terrible time of year.
It's a bad time, this time of year.
Yes, our wallets react in horror from all the gifts and the corny sentiment.
If you don't take it seriously, you're a fool!
Son, are you trying to get yourself killed in this slasher film? Finally, we have a horror film that tells us we really shouldn't go down in the coal mines to have sex. And old ladies have gotten away far too easily in slasher movies. It's about time they had their comeuppance in some way.
There are many ways to die.
Yes, you'll scream in horror so loud your head will explode unless someone holds it together. But it can't be a slasher trailer without the puns.
Take your pick.
Excellent. Though can you remake it in 3D? But I know someone who won a free vacation to Egypt on Valentine's Day. This Valentine's Day you can have a slasher film or a globe-trotting adventure.
For thousands of years, a part of the world has been a world of its own.
Get to the demon possession. Sphinx features Leslie Ann Down, Frank Langella, plus...
I'm a Nephter, chief physician, king of the two lands, the eternal rest of the king.
Plenty of exposition, dialogue, and riddles.
She pursues the greatest riddle of all.
Is this knife too big to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? This is for people in America craving a taste of Amazon cannibal movie violence in a PG movie, of course. Sphinx was directed by Franklin J. Schaffner, who made Papillon, Planet of the Apes, and won an Oscar for Patton. Sphinx, however, wasn't a big hit at the box office. It's a huge disappointment for people thinking the Sphinx will come to life and attack people in a killer animal type horror film. But it is a prologue for some other John Rhys Davies adventure film that'll come out later in the year. Maybe it didn't do well because we're a year after Caligula, and with John Gielgud being here, too many people were afraid someone would bang the Sphinx. Now it's time for the kids to sneak out of the house again. Only this time they're telling their parents, hey, we're just seeing an animated movie. That animated movie being the R-rated awesomeness of American pop with its rockin' soundtrack and rotoscope beauty. Any trailer that plays Bob Seger's Night Moves is okay by me. This was Bakshi making a more personal film after his Lord of the Rings movie and is the story of 4 generations of an immigrant family throughout the history of American pop music. If you loved your experience of tripping balls while watching Jefferson Airplane, this movie will recreate it for you. It'll do other things to you too.
If it assaults your senses, rocks your body, or touches your soul.
And if it makes you cream in your pants like this trailer has done 20 times, you should already have your tickets by now. And if you've still got a little bit of a high going on, relax. Next up, you can see the new Christopher Walken movie.
Academy Award winner Christopher Walken.
Ooh, this better get all Walken-y.
The Dogs of War.
Yes, I believe Walken just has guns in his fridge and eats bugs for breakfast. We need the best of the best for this mission of thwarting an evil president of a fictitious African nation. Will Walken and his team of mercenaries do the job? Yeah, they're gonna kill the shit out of that ocean. The Dogs of War is an underrated action film that's deeper than you think.
Cry havoc and let slip the Dogs of War.
See? It's just like Shakespeare. All these years later, you could say The Dogs of War is the amazing Operation Wolf, Operation Thunderbolt movie that we never got. This will definitely go out with a bang.
The Dogs of War.
And if you haven't gotten your tickets for Dogs of War, it's because you're suffering third-degree burns from the trailer. And I know you're craving some adventure after Sphinx's brief run in theaters.
Murderer forced victim to swallow 10,000 goldfish. First time fish stuffed man.
Unfortunately, you might not get your money's worth in Charlie Chan and the Curse of the Dragon Queen.
Announcing the triumphant return of the world's greatest detective in an all-new comedy mystery.
Yes, the triumphant return of China Jones in his live-action adventure. Who else is in this movie?
If you ask me, sweetheart, this is one case that'll baffle even the great Charlie Chan.
And co-starring a Humphrey Bogart impression? Oh, come on, trailer, keep trying to sell me.
Charlie Chan and the Curse of the Dragon Queen, rated PG.
Wait, what? That's it? Oh no, I was burned on the fiendish plot of Dr. Fu Manchu. I'm not falling for this again, even if it's the story of someone who turns victims into baked potatoes? What a spadoinkle movie. How could Siskel and Ebert call this one of the worst of the year? The mystery may be lacking here, but there's other mysteries you can see, though unfortunately I doubt William Hurt is playing a Chinese detective. It'll be edited all cool though. Look, the trailer editor found the picture-in-picture button. This is gonna get deadly.
Every day in the United States, 50 people are murdered.
Only 50? Well, that's not bad. The number's so low because Freddy Krueger hasn't been introduced to movies yet, and Jason will be here later this year. This is Peter Yates's Eyewitness, the story of investigative journalism and intrigue.
Then why are we having this interview?
Since you asked me, I'll tell you, I have had a crush on you for about 2 years.
And they're gonna bang! I'm not used to seeing a straightforward mystery thriller here. After 1980, I'm just assuming one of them will get shot, turn into a dog, and have to solve the mystery that way. And the killer's probably the trailer guy, who I think is threatening me.
Eyewitness. You're never more vulnerable than when you've seen too much.
I have seen too much. If I know my 80s movies, I'm betting $100 James Woods is the bad guy. I think we should get some romance in here, though. It is weeks after Valentine's Day. The 1980 movie Sunday Lovers got its American release in 1981. It's a romantic anthology comedy directed by Brian Forbes, Edward Molinaro, Dino Risi, and Gene Wilder, who also co-starred in a segment, as did Roger Moore. And it's the prologue adventures of Marcus Brody now. This had better get me laid after forgetting Valentine's Day. Look, they're breaking apart this woman and eating her flesh. So romantic. It's too late for me to enjoy the romance now. I've already seen too much, which is why I was hit in the face with a pickaxe. When we come back, though, you'll find that the real romance is in March, when Joe Spinell scalps a bunch of hookers. The first quarter of 1981 was eventful for the United States. Reagan was sworn in as president in January, and come March, we were still celebrating by catching women sliding down poles. Plus, this movie has the powerhouse of Gene Hackman and Barbra Streisand. Spoiler, she sings in it.
Was lying in the gutter, broken, twisted.
But I'm not sure her heart is really in the project. Despite the strong cast, All Night Long was a box office bomb, resulting from bad reviews and a budget that ballooned up to $15 million. Must be why it's a big budget film, yet the only trailer you can find is a 30-second TV spot that isn't exactly energetic.
Together they do it all night long.
Are you expecting anyone?
At 4 in the morning?
But who is at the door? Speaking of things that aren't surprising.
Bill Cosby is the devil. Want a light?
I mean, who am I to argue? It says it right there in the trailer. Elliot Gould is a shady agent conning girls in bars, with of course Cosby right there. The Devil and Max Devlin was controversial due to it being a Disney movie with satanic imagery, and critics didn't like that Bill Cosby was playing a villain. Oh my, how 1981 was a different time. Now if Cosby was in this film, that would have been even more realistic.
Fancy girls and their fancy dresses and that lipstick.
Yes, Bill Lustig's Maniac is the film about what every Joe Spinell character from Rocky to Taxi Driver does in his spare time. You can tell this is the movie that stood the test of time over The Devil and Max Devlin and All Night Long, because this one has a full 3.5-minute trailer available, and not simply a lame TV spot. And it's a movie so brutal it killed the effects artist! The film is also notable to Snob fans as being possibly the most sarcastic Cinema Snob episode ever made. Arguably too sarcastic, which is saying something. While in 1981 we got the international releases of Cannibal Ferox and Burial Ground, those didn't come out in the States until years later. But thanks to Maniac, there was still some bloodiness in the States in 1981. Everyone who complained about The Devil and Max Devlin's satanic imagery would have jumped out the window from this film. Maniac, the story of a serial killer who scalps his victims, is one of the best of its kind. It was heavily protested and shit on by critics, cause, you know, it's about a villain who does villainous things. They should have known what they were walking into, since the trailer shows you almost everything about it, except for the famous last scene. For everyone clutching their pearls about Maniac, I'm sure there's a kids movie they could all go see.
Television favorite Gary Coleman brings his unique comic perspective on life to On the Right Track.
I think this trailer might be from a different country. With On the Right Track, we're back to random TV spots surviving more than the full trailer.
Roll the tape! The tape is rolling. Cue Mr. Mayor!
I'm sure it'll start any minute now. This was the epic crossover of different strokes and the ropers that we all needed. The film was a test to see if Gary Coleman could be a box office draw due to his television success, but I don't think the makers of this trailer cared, since it's really just a dry clip from the film. It's okay, it briefly sums up what it's about.
An extraordinary boy uses his talents to clean up the city. On the right track.
Ooh, you got it in August? Well, we got it in March. Take that. Let's see if Sally Field and Tommy Lee Jones can reclaim some of that Norman Fell and Gary Coleman magic.
Sometimes, the most incompatible people find a way of getting together.
But not really if you know the backstory of the film. Backroads was a rom-com that came and went and is mostly remembered now as the movie that Field and Jones hated each other while making it. It was released by the short-lived CBS Theatrical Films, and one look at the poster again, and yep, it does seem like something the distributors of Windy City would release. And I think I know why the stars didn't get along.
Backroads, rated R. Opens Friday, March 13th.
Stop dropping her in the mud! Good, we're back to the horror movies being the ones with the most longevity that made their full trailers survive. Do I dare enter the funhouse?
Something not alive like its father. Something better dead.
Yeah, something that's gonna give me a damn seizure. I hope there's really not a killer, just simply drunk people going through a funhouse and yelling when things pop up at them. Toby Hooper's The Funhouse is really just showing what else is going on in the deadly funhouse, while Chucky was trying to put his soul into Tyler. But if it's romance you still want, I guess we can try again. Maybe this one will be more memorable.
I don't think that we should go out anymore. I mean, I just think it's over.
I got a good feeling about this couple. Now we have a March rom-com with some legs. This is Albert Brooks's Modern Romance, one of the many neurotic love stories of the time, and it was so highly regarded by critics that even Kubrick himself was a huge fan of the film. Directed by and starring Brooks as a film editor, it's about the things we all do after a breakup.
He was free. He took vitamins. He started running.
And he's having soup for one. The film also features Katherine Harold and Bruno Kirby as one of the Beatles, I think. If you like love and complaining, this one's for you.
I love you very much, Mary.
I know you do.
I know you do. I guess that's the same as I love you too.
Again, I've got a good feeling about this couple. Neurotic relationships always work out. Now sure, you may still be going to confession after seeing the evil that is the devil and Max Devlin, but March has a slightly more wholesome offering from Disney.
Every once in a while, there comes to the screen a film of incredible optimism.
Boo! Give me Joe Spinell scalping people again. Sure, there's no Satan in Amy, but there is awkward Oscar bait moments.
Everyone knows that the deaf cannot speak. Yes, I can.
Truly, I now know that deaf people are people too. Amy stars Jenny Agutter as a teacher who teaches deaf people to speak. I bet the original title was The Miracle Employee. Hell, they may even be going for a Best Song nomination.
Teach me a secret we share.
This looks lame! And the tagline doesn't help.
She taught them to speak. They taught her to love.
This trailer taught me to puke! Now here is where we get into some underrated territory with one of the most underrated films you'll see in 1981, Cutter's Way.
Introducing Alex Cutter.
Don't let his name fool you, he's mainly a huffer.
Cutter's wife, Mo.
I think she's cheating on Cutter. Plus, Jeff Bridges plays Richard Bone, the best name for a gigolo ever. Bridges and John Hurd play two friends solving a murder mystery, which alcoholic disabled veteran Cutter becomes more and more obsessed with. Hurd's performance was a career best and one that should have received countless award recognitions, but unfortunately internal politics in the studio killed the movie's box office chances. Thankfully though, the movie went on to become a cult film with a very loyal audience and a ton of praise from critics, as it deserves. March is a very weird month because again, I sense that Satan is lurking around the corner.
In 1976, the birth of evil was foretold.
What a weird way to promote The Fox and the Hound.
In 1978, a terrifying prophecy was fulfilled.
Wait, does this have something to do with The Omen? Oh, this is Omen 3, The Final Conflict, the one with politician adult Damien Thorne.
I've just appointed Mr. Damien Thorne as our new ambassador to the court of St. James.
Seriously, who wouldn't be seduced by this man? Arguably, you are safer in a room with Damien Thorne than you are with Bill Cosby.
Damien Thorne is 32, attractive, brilliant, charismatic.
Eat your heart out, 50 Shades. This contract is written in blood. I always wondered what Bruce Wayne would be like if he were the spawn of Satan.
I stand before you in the name of the one who was cast out from heaven.
Well, you've sold me. Guess I'll follow this guy. Sam Neill as Damien Thorne in a political horror film? Sign me up immediately. You know it's evil because it's got the satanic horror movie font.
The concluding chapter of the Omen trilogy.
Until Omen 4 The Awakening, that is. But first we have sequels, and now we have a remake, or the fourth adaptation of a book, anyway. Hollywood is out of ideas. The Postman Always Rings Twice is a remake, therefore all movies are remakes. Though this isn't considered to be a great adaptation, as apparently it doesn't even explain the meaning of the title. The star of the 1946 version, Lana Turner, wasn't a supporter either, as she called the previews pornographic trash. That explains the 15 minutes of hardcore penetration. Since it wasn't well received by critics at the time, it's often thought of as a flop, but it really wasn't. It made almost 4 times its budget back. That's because people wanted to see some Jack Nicholson, Jessica Lange sexy time in the theater. No back will be left unscratched in The Postman Always Rings Twice. No kitchen left uncontaminated with germs. So am I gonna get my eggs or what? But if this is a porn, what do the adult magazines think?
In the motion picture that Playboy magazine calls Hotter Than Any Uncurbed Passion.
Alright, I thought I read that when I was jerking off to pictures of Shannon Tweed. And didn't I say I wanted more Joe Spinell scalping? this isn't Maniac again, but it's close. Eyes of a Stranger is another movie about a serial killer and a rapist who preys on women just horror movieing at night.
Who is it?
It's me, Jeff.
But luckily, she's got Jeff. You can tell something serial killery is gonna happen. Richard Einhorn is doing the music. He did the music for Don't Go in the House, another movie I should have spotlighted in 1980. Plus, Tom Savini did the effects. March was certainly a month of forgotten rom-coms and serial killer movies where Savini did the effects. I got a bad feeling about Jeff, though. But if it's cool you want, it's cool you got in Michael Mann's classic Thief, starring James Caan. 5 seconds in, and yep, Michael Mann film. Caan stars as a professional safecracker doing one last job. It was Mann's theatrical feature debut, and with a soundtrack by Tangerine Dream, why aren't you watching this film right now?
I wear $150 slacks. I wear silk shirts. I wear $800 suits.
We get it, James Caan will never not be awesome. It has quite the supporting cast, too. Tuesday Weld and Willie Nelson. Make sure you also get high when watching it. I've fully accepted that this is how badass James Caan is off camera, too.
I am the last guy you want to mess with.
This was a typical day on Elf. The movie is James Caan shooting shit, blowing up shit, people trying to kill James Caan, and him being a cool-ass icon all throughout.
James Caan. Thief.
Finally, a rom-com that works because the movie Thief has stolen my heart. Now, I know some of you are anxiously awaiting the most important film of 1981, Heartbeeps. Clearly because I've got the poster in the background, but that movie doesn't come out until December. As for the other poster, I know it's my trademark to have the Caligula poster there, but I probably should switch it out with something from 1981. Granted, the R-rated version of Caligula was released in 81, so, I don't know, I'll think about it. I got plenty of time left in this video. Speaking of 1980, we briefly touched on Atlantic City in our 1980 video because someone put the European release dates in my American release dates. Louis Malle's Atlantic City got a release in France, Italy, and Canada in 1980, but got its 1981 release in the States, where it would later get nominated for the Big 5 Academy Award nominations. I hear good things.
It will change every idea you ever had about winning.
Yeah, that's what you told me about the Baltimore Bullet. The film is about 1980s Sarah Lewis teaming with Moonlight Graham to bet all of the sugar. This movie totally gets Atlantic City. When you're not IDing dead bodies, you're hanging out at bathhouses. But mainly, it's a movie about Burt Lancaster being awesome, and I think Godzilla is in it. Now, while Atlantic City features some acting, this next film features acting!
Into the eyes of the dragon and the despair!
Yes, John Boorman's Excalibur is the gold standard of King Arthur movies, or at least Arthur movies that aren't hilarious. It was the critical, financial, and audience hit that Boorman needed after Zardoz and Exorcist 2, despite Zardoz also being great. And I can see why audiences flock to this. Because the trailer is awesome!
Are you just a dream to some?
A nightmare to others!
And the movie is quotable as hell. I guess we are still a little like 1980, whether it's 1980 with Caligula or 1981 with Excalibur. Helen Mirren is gonna have a fucked up scene where she gives birth. It's all in the Bible.
Sword of power, sword of kings.
And for some reason, I also want to watch Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. This next movie had better have the beloved appeal of Atlantic City and Excalibur.
It's time for a film that straightforwardly confronts modern issues.
Like going to see the Monkey movie over Excalibur. Good thing they throw the title in, or I would have assumed this was a Police Academy movie I forgot about. Going Ape stars Danny DeVito and Tony Danza, which means this movie version of Taxi is very disappointing. Give me the Latka movie any day of the week. I highly doubt this next film is going to impress me more than Going Ape.
The Howling.
Okay, sure. Go see The Howling if you want. But be forewarned, the film reels unfortunately keep ripping. It's the story of running from wolves or banging them, not sure which. Joe Dante's classic The Howling was a moderate success at the box office and is a cool, stylish film, which is very lucky it became a success because...
Show you something? Make you believe.
Because they just put the ending right there in the trailer. The ending is what sticks with me the most about the movie, and there it is. No, don't stop there. Put in the money shot as well. And no one's gonna go see Going Ape over us. We're fine. Plus, the glass shattering is like Friday the 13th, and that movie was a hit. April is quite the month. There is something awesome about Excalibur and Knight Riders being released on the same week. Knight Riders was a much different kind of movie for director George Romero. It's like they took some imagery from Death Sport and made a real personal film out of it, complete with family-like drama and still with Tom Savini in it, of course. Good thing he survived his head explosion. The film is about a traveling Renaissance fair that's like watching a version of Carney with extra ham hocks. After the Funhouse was the slasher movie version of Carney. You got motorcycles, Ed Harris, and jousting. Need I say more?
Knight Riders.
And thus Medieval Times was born. The week of April 10th isn't done yet. From Excalibur to Knight Riders to Nighthawks, these movies are all bleeding into each other. In Nighthawks, Rutger Hauer is an international terrorist, but thank God here in the States we got Stallone and Billy D. Williams to save us.
Is this trip business or pleasure?
Pleasure, I hope.
Don't let him in, he's the villain.
Currently self-employed. Occupation, international terrorist.
See, it's right there in his resume. Nighthawks began life as The French Connection 3, but it was reworked as Nighthawks when Gene Hackman wasn't interested. This cool, tense cop thriller is one of Stallone's most underrated films, and it's awesomely 1981.
Occupation, cop.
See, not just a cop, but a disco cop. Do you have international terrorists in America? Oh, not in this disco. You can bet your weight on it. Look up! Stallone, Rutger Hauer, disco, I know what I'm watching tonight. Imagine, it's the week of April 10th, and you've got The Howling, Knight Riders, Nighthawks, Excalibur, but then some asshole is like, no, we're going to see Going Ape! There's even documentaries available too, like This Is Elvis and From Mao to Mozart, plus this other music documentary about cavemen.
The Dawn of Civilization. Primitive.
See, Ringo Starr is a caveman. Not sure if it's a documentary though. Where are the other Beatles, like Bruno Kirby? Caveman is that parody of Ega and Teenage Caveman that I guess someone wanted. With jokes like this, how could you not want to watch it?
God is out of sight.
I'm just gonna go see Excalibur again. Though it does contain some pretty cool special effects, used for the trailer guy to be a smartass.
And fried eggs. Sunny side up.
There's gonna be a dick joke, isn't there?
He will teach man to walk erect.
Oh, you mean like a penis?
He will inspire the men and zug-zug the women.
Ah, now I understand. Banging! Caveman does contain quite the cast though, which made it an okay success upon release, possibly because the audience was on just as many hallucinogens as the people were when making the movie. Okay, slow down, April. We're getting into too many movies that people remember. What about the ones no one talks about? Ah, good. Beyond the Reef, which sounds like Irwin Allen produced a sequel to Donovan's Reef. This film was completed in 1979, but released in 1981. It's the common story about befriending an orphan tiger shark, which may contain the soul of a wise old man needed to guard sacred pearls. Still on some of those trippy berries from Caveman, huh? Filmed on a lot of the sets from the hurricane, whoever made this is psychic because they knew one day we'd need a cross between E.T. and Jaws. I guess we should continue on with this theme. Here's another movie made in 1979, but released in 1981. Plus Burt Lancaster again? Sign me up! Though again, it is time to imagine going to the theater, wanting to see Atlantic City, but that same asshole friend is like, no, 2 for Cattle Annie and Little Britches. In his defense, maybe he thought it was a southern fried porno like The Farmer's Daughters. The film, however, did get some decent reviews, as it's about 2 girls infatuated with western outlaws and joining some criminals. Plus, it was filmed on John Wayne's ranch, and was notable for the crew being there on the day Wayne's death was announced, causing the cast and crew to do a moment of silence. I wonder if they did the same thing on Spawn Ranch if someone was filming there on the day Charles Manson died. That is too much wholesome, though. Give me Michael Caine and a killer severed hand, though I can think of someone who wouldn't be interested. Lloyd disapproved! The Hand is directed by Oliver Stone and stars Michael Caine as a comic book illustrator who might need to take some time off from drawing Mary Worth. He begins having blackouts as his own subconscious causes his hand to kill. This movie is absolutely batshit. It's like a B horror film like The Crawling Hand, only it slowly becomes something out of Altered States or Brazil. It's a twisted ride, and I haven't forgotten it since seeing it as a teenager. I honestly wish Oliver Stone did some more horror films. We are getting into some cool exploitation territory here between The Hand and...
What's the matter with you?
Ms. 45, one of the best exploitation flicks of the year. Abel Ferrara's Ms. 45 uses vigilante and revenge films like Thriller, A Cruel Picture, and Death Wish as a launching pad to tell a very psychological story of a woman brutalized who slowly loses her humanity and becomes more of a serial killer through the course of the movie. Hell, the trailer itself is like a bone-chilling 1.5-minute short film. Ms. 45 is one of Abel Ferrara's best films, and the perfect companion to his other dark psychological character piece, the 1979 film Driller Killer. Both films pull no punches and no shots either. How much do I love this movie? I have the big box in my jacket. This thing could stop bullets from any gun. Haven't gotten your exploitation fix yet? Let's continue on with Bloody Birthday. Oh, you silly goose, my birthday is also in December. I'm a Heartbeeps baby. Bloody Birthday is the story of 3 children born during an eclipse and having the urge to kill.
If they decide they don't like you, watch out.
By George, 1981 predicted the Twitter mob. It was easy for them to go outside and do this in 81. We'd just leave guns laying around the house back then. And it's an 80s movie, so someone is still gonna be peeping in on girls changing their clothes. Whew. In retrospect, the shower girls from Porky's don't have it so bad. Bloody Birthday is like Happy Birthday to Me meets The Children, and an after-school special.
Children shouldn't play with sharp objects.
Point taken. Therefore, I will strangle my brother with a phone cord, shoot the teacher, and hide them in the closet, not to mention kill some people who are having sex. It is a slasher film, after all. Also, they might be Klansmen. These same kids today would do the same thing to the makers of this movie, for it is highly offensive to triplets born during an eclipse. These children will still grow up fast though, because when we come back, it's graduation day! Whoa, hang on a sec. It's not May yet. There's a little something you need to do before graduating.
Friday the 13th. Part 2.
That's right, summer vacation on April 30th, even though it was March and November that had Friday the 13th months in 1981, but whatever, Jason's the killer now. And I wouldn't go to the trailer if you need to be caught up.
On a June night in 1980, 12 of her friends were murdered.
The first one took place in 79, and 7 of her friends died. Or 6, maybe. Was Annie her friend? Had they met before? Though the trailer does keep you up to speed on what became of Alice after the original.
Why should Friday the 13th, 1981 be any different?
She dies. Oh, wait, hang on. At this point in filming, I've already switched glasses. There! Now it feels like normal. And I'll still change that poster in a bit. The trailer picks up where the previous trailer leaves off.
14.
Doomed.
15.
As in the counting is continuing. As if I'm gonna trust this trailer, it can't even count bodies. Having seen the movie, I believe you mean we're doomed. But the important thing is that this is the introduction of Jason as the killer. But you gotta go see the movie itself to see the awesomeness of Baghead Jason. There, now that you've officially died on summer break, you can graduate. For it is officially May and graduation day.
There are 200 seniors at Midvale High. And 7 days till graduation.
Excellent, and Marty McFly is playing in the band. Damn, I wish I went to this school. They got roller discos.
The track team finished first in the state. Then again, Midvale always produces winners.
Except when they crash on the track from a cocaine overdose. But if you survived summer break and Friday the 13th Part 2...
She jogs to school every morning.
You may still die at graduation. The killer is probably whoever's in charge of the yearbook. How do these pictures keep getting put in there? Graduation Day was a huge hit at the box office, bringing in $23 million and only costing $250,000. It did even better than Friday the 13th Part 2, which itself was also a gigantic hit. We are knee-deep in the age of slasher film domination.
And 7 days till graduation. Too bad there'll be no one to celebrate with.
Oh, you can celebrate with the characters from Friday the 13th Part 3. They're still alive at this point. I'm sensing a theme in these trailers, regardless if they're a slasher film.
In a city of light, sound.
There will be a band in the movie somewhere. This is King of the Mountain. It's not a slasher movie, it's a street racing movie, which bombed. Should have been a slasher movie.
The one man who puts it all together will become King of the Mountain.
It's important Harry Hamlin goes the full Hasselhoff to qualify for King of the Mountain. Careful, these roads are dangerous.
By night, it's deadly.
Because of all the possums crossing the road. Damn, no matter what decade we're in, it seems like there will always be street racing movies.
He's a living legend.
I know who you are. The fast one.
Yes, but he's not furious. A movie about speed that has Dennis Hopper in it? Obviously, one of them is gonna blow up. Despite getting poor reviews, I'll say this, the driving stunts look really damn good. He worked this hard to become King of the Mountain and no one noticed. Next time, drive up Everest. Well, if a movie about street racing isn't gonna do well. Then a movie called Hard Country is gonna do even worse. The hell? Sounds like a cowboy porn. Hard Country is the hard, dramatic story of hard Jan Michael Vincent's mustache and Kim Basinger having hard dreams of moving to the big city and away from her soft Texas town. What? Is this the prototype for Independence Day 1983? Who gets blown up in their house in this one? The movie only made $500K at the box office, because no one in the South listens to that damn top 40 soft country. They had more important things to watch in Texas, like this continuation of an amazing franchise. Is it Star Wars? Is it Superman?
And now, the mightiest of them all, Image of the Beast.
Even better, the Thief in the Night series. Image of the Beast was released in Duncanville, Texas, and it's the third part of the Fundamentalist Mark IV series, which included A Thief in the Night, A Distant Thunder, and I'm guessing this one has a happy ending, judging from the trailer. You can find out more in Part 4, The Prodigal Planet, which was released in '83. There was a lot of randomness being released in Texas at the time. The 1978 Western Shoot the Sun Down, starring Christopher Walken, got a release in Austin. What is this movie?
Only in an endless desert lies the answer.
Hello! Hi!
And the question? What if Heaven's Gate were more like Conan the Barbarian? That's far too many movies that aren't slasher films. We need to fix that immediately.
This summer, if you're planning to go camping...
Your camping trip is killing Independent George! Oh, we all know this classic.
If you're looking forward to midnight swims, don't. And if you're thinking about being with someone where no one can see you, don't.
Surprisingly, it doesn't have "don't" in the title. This is The Burning, one of the best slasher films of the 80s, which oddly didn't do very well at the box office, but did become a cult classic for its brutal kills and very good cinematography. Wonder whatever became of the writers. I'm sure whoever starred in this next movie didn't get in any trouble. A Robert Blake movie? No matter, not that many people went to see this. This is Secondhand Hearts, a movie made in '79, but sat on the shelf till '81 when Paramount decided to only open it in New York and LA. This made the cast quite upset, as Blake even went on Johnny Carson to voice his concerns and try to generate interest in the movie. But after negative reviews, the film never played beyond New York and LA and faded off into obscurity. Though you can get it on a Warner Archive DVD. It does seem like the kind of movie I'd have as the fourth melodrama entry in a poll. We're not exactly back to slasher movies yet, but even when it's not a slasher per se, it'll still be a stalker film. The name of this movie is The Fan. No, not this movie about a stalker fan. This movie about a stalker fan.
I think she's taking advantage of you.
Sally, he's driving me crazy.
I recommend you fire her.
Whoa, wait, it's about Michael Biehn stalking Lauren Bacall? I think you sold me on this.
I want to touch you. I want to make love to you.
By God, it's like if Kyle Reese was the Kyle Reese that the cops tried telling Sarah Connor that he was. I have to see this movie. He traveled back in time to make sure Lauren Bacall never does Mr. North. With the thriller out of the way, is the next one some good old slasher shenanigans? Ha! Of course it is!
Someone's having a party for the top 10. The senior class snobs.
Ooh, a party for me? Wait a minute, happy birthday to me. I've been to this party before.
It is up to you to determine whether you wish to subject yourself to fear.
Depends. How much are concessions? I need my popcorn and soda. This trailer spoils the most important part of the film. That the cake dies. Okay, they must have noticed when I said shenanigans, because now we got just regular shenanigans.
What will it take before you join these great Americans in a new American battle cry?
Crack. This is Take This Job and Shove It, or Take This Job and Shovel It in the Demolition Man universe. It was one of the biggest hits for director Gus Trichinosis. He directed Sidehackers, based on a song by Johnny Paycheck. No wonder it was a hit. It's real hard country that needs to be hosed down.
You can take your job and shove it.
Take this job and shove it.
You said it wrong. Get the title right. If it's even more hard country you want, it doesn't get much harder than Charles Bronson and Lee Marvin.
I have a bunch of savages out here, just aching to splatter you all over the place.
Welp, I'm hard for some action. Death Hunt is about the nationwide manhunt of fugitive trapper Albert Johnson, here played by Bronson, though the trailer is a little confusing.
Death Hunt, based on the true story.
Huh, wonder if this had a different title. Finally, I've been looking for The Pursuit of D.B. Cooper meets The Revenant. And it's not confusing at telling us the leads.
Lee Marvin has the badge and the determination to get his man.
But first, must have sex with Angie Dickinson. Let's not forget Bronson is in this.
Charles Bronson has the wilderness and the will to be free.
Unfortunately, he died stuck in a tree. Bronson had a lot of hits in the 80s, but this wasn't one of them. It underperformed at the box office, which is weird for a movie with Charles Bronson and with the word death in the title.
Death Hunt.
Oh, sorry, Yukon. Whatever. But it's hard to mistake the title of this comedy classic.
Richard Pryor is Joe Braxton.
And he's scared for no reason. Bustin' Loose ranks way up there on Richard Pryor's filmography. It's hilarious and even shows his dramatic chops in some scenes. And with this plot...
Stop the bus!
Shut up!
She stop the bus!
Pryor taking on a bunch of special needs kids on a bus. Oh, sold. The chemistry with Pryor and Cicely Tyson is also great. Plus his scenes with the Klan? Well, now I have to buy a ticket to this movie to see how that plays out. Hell, it's even the poster. You'd have no idea that this movie is about him transporting a group of kids via bus. If Death Hunt and Happy Birthday to Me aren't great date movies for you, though, there is The Four Seasons.
I wonder what other people do on their vacations.
Somehow, they survive it all.
It's like Town and Country, but good. Written, directed by, and starring Alan Alda, and with a huge supporting cast, I'm surprised I can't find a better trailer for this, given it was a huge commercial success and critical success. It even spawned a TV series in 1984, which wasn't as successful. Did you say not successful? There's been enough slasher movies here that have been featured on the Cinema Snob, but you know what we need now?
The mask is lifted, and the man is revealed in the legend of the Lone Ranger.
Westerns featured on the Cinema Snob. How does this one have a longer trailer than The Four Seasons?
As America grew along the new frontier, many great legends were told.
Like Quick Draw McGraw. This better not be an origin story.
And witness to his brother's murder, he made a bond.
And that bond to get jacked. The Legend of the Lone Ranger was a notorious box office bomb, but an intriguing bomb. The producers pissed off fans by not allowing classic Lone Ranger Clayton Moore to wear the mask in public appearances, and then it also got out that the film's lead, Clinton Spilsbury, had to be dubbed by James Keach, with Spilsbury never appearing in a movie again. This is the kind of backstory that needs a documentary. It's not a poorly made film, there's good stunt work. It's not even a bad trailer, but it does show that your trailer can be entertaining, but bad buzz can still break your movie. I guess these movies are just cursed, and upon rewatch, the Gore Verbinski one isn't even that bad. I'm sure you got blue balls and are still plenty hard from Lee Marvin and Charles Bronson, but we'll fix you right up. We gotta go to the hard surface of a moon of Jupiter in a mining town where Sean Connery will be there to finish you off in Outland. This movie is awesome, one of Connery's most underrated. The film is a sort of high noon in space, as he uncovers a drug smuggling conspiracy and receives no help from others when he becomes a marked man. Written and directed by Peter Hyams, even the trailer is suspenseful. I got sucked into it just taking notes. You want a great Sean Connery sci-fi double feature with Zardoz? pick up Outland. You'll have an amazing night. Though if you live in New York and you need a good comedy drama about getting your injured child out of foster care, look no further than the Canadian film Improper Channels starring Alan Arkin. It's like if Kramer vs. Kramer or Hide in Plain Sight were hilarious. Wait, did I forget to mention Hide in Plain Sight in the 1980 video? I think I did. James Caan tries finding his kids who were put in witness protection. Good movie. As for Improper Channels, never saw it. As for the last film in May, Polyester,
I'll be quite blunt with you, Cuddles. I think my marriage is on the rocks.
definitely saw this one, and I smelled it too, as it's filmed in odorama. That's just what the other John Waters films needed. Multiple Maniacs would have been better if I could smell the vomit. This satire of Douglas Sirk films tackles abortion, alcoholism, and the religious right in a way that only John Waters can do.
I love you too, my darling. Then let's make love, you sweet little thing.
By smelling the love-making with your own nose. People who went to this movie with a cold, they're screwed. Though you should get your smell and taste back if you've had the right kind of medical marijuana to help with that. It was an innocent time when we had nice dreams, till Freddy came along in '84 and ruined everything. Can't wait to see what's in the latest Cheech and Chong adventure. They're all patiently waiting for Melvin the Mop Boy to clean this place up. Well, the trailer sure is going along at a mellow pace. Oh, a meet cute. It's a romantic comedy. He saved Cheech from suffering a happy birthday to me like death scene. Okay, is this trailer just a whole scene from the movie? Well, the first half is. Eventually, it's just random clips. How am I supposed to have nice dreams with an image like that? I don't think they put any thought into connecting these clips with any kind of rhyme or reason. Whoever made this trailer was so high, even the trailer itself is categorized as drug movies. Are you gonna tell me what this movie's about?
You're getting too laid back, yes sir? Come on.
Nah, you'll go see it anyway, which audiences did. It was a box office hit. But as we've learned, where there's weed smoking, there's still a slasher killer waiting around the corner.
At Lanier College, they have the finest security, the best teacher-student relations.
What you're showing me contradicts all of that. These movies have convinced me to never go back to school.
He's come back. Final exam.
Wait, final exam? Why do I need that? We've already graduated! The movie made $1 million at the box office, but given how low the budget was, even $1 million gave them a really good profit. And the trailer does good with characters. I clearly know that's Gary. And they're killing someone in the weight room where they failed to in Nice Dreams. But just who is the killer?
Final exam. He's come back.
Yes, the night he came home to study for an exam. And coincidentally, it's also the night the lights went out in Georgia, obviously due to a killer knocking out the power. Just kidding, it's not a slasher, it gets weirder.
In case you haven't guessed, sweet little Christy McNichol isn't that little anymore.
The hell kind of list is this narrator on? The film stars Christy McNichol and Dennis Quaid as brother and sister.
Don't listen to this little nitwit here because she's drunk and she's retarded beside.
Oh yeah? Well, she's not grunting like your character in Caveman. Although this movie is giving everyone their Star Wars fix, Mark Hamill is in it.
Well, I think you got a few things to learn.
So you gonna teach me, Mr. State Trooper?
I just might.
Yeah, he's bringing the Force, the naked side. The film is based on a Vicki Lawrence song, obviously about drunken brothers and banging horny cops. Whatever, I'll pass. Give me a signal of something I can take Dad and Grandpa to. Ah, that means The Seawolves is playing. Yes, a war movie. I can already tell it's better made than Inchon. Even the title is blowing up. This movie seems dire.
Look, damn it, we've got to get rid of that transmitter.
And who can help with that? Bond, James Bond. The Seawolves reunited most of the cast of 1978's The Wild Geese, but was plagued with distribution problems. It got a release in the UK and France in 1980, before finally being released in June of '81 in the States. After Lorimar fell out with United Artists, Paramount came in to distribute the film, but did little to promote it, so it didn't do very well. You can see the characters are very frustrated.
I'd like to go into that harbor with commandos and blow the whole filthy place up, but we can't, which is rather frustrating.
This war is bollocks.
Lewis, you're talking about a mixed bag of boozing, middle-aged, pot-bellied businessmen. It's insane, and you know it.
War horses? Preposterous!
And what's with all the weights in these movies lately?
Those of you who are selected will leave in about 7 days.
What are you doing?
Didn't you see Final Exam or Happy Birthday to Me? Put that weight down! This mission needs not just one Bond, but 2 Bonds, if you count David Niven from Casino Royale. I have no idea what kind of movie this is. Is it a comedy? Is it a war film? How much more time do I have to kill before Stripes comes out? I have the feeling the Seawolves will have more explosions than our next film. What? There was a 1981 Tuck Everlasting? Based on the 1975 book by Natalie Babbitt, the film is so forgotten that most of the trivia you find just says, yeah, it's not very well known. It's on TV sometimes. Not on DVD very much, though. It's so obscure, Lorelai and Rory would probably reference this one before the 2002 one, which had Alexis Bledel in it. Screw that movie. I need a costume flick with some action.
A helmet, a shield, a sword, and throbbing pecs.
Clash of the Titans will have everything.
The mystery. The majesty.
Destroy Argos!
Yes, Disco of the Gods. After the box office disappointment of King of the Mountain, it's good Harry Hamlin had a huge hit with this film, but will it have the shitty 3D of the 2010 version? Damn, it is great going back and appreciating the model and effects work of these movies and the cast.
Burgess Meredith. Maggie Smith. Ursula Andress.
She took on the Mountain of the Cannibal God. She can handle these titans with a lightning fetish. Even the comedies are epic on the week of June 12th, with the release of Mel Brooks's History of the World Part 1.
These 15! 10!
Idiot! Heston would never do that. The film is very accurate as it goes through all of world history.
For now begins the Inquisition!
I was, in fact, expecting the Spanish Inquisition. This is a fun comedy that I didn't grow up with as much as Mel's other movies, but...
History of the World, Part 1.
It's still damn funny and quotable.
It's good to be the king.
I may say that every morning when I look at myself in the mirror. This film has everyone that wasn't in Holy Moses. I remember seeing this as a kid and being very confused by the title. Where's the sequel? Also...
I'm Miriam. I'm a Vestal Virgin.
I'm really sorry to hear that.
As a kid, I probably didn't get that joke. It's got action, drama, romance, like it's advertising for HBO, Cinemax, and Showtime. As a cinema snob, I am for these practical effects and anything narrated by Orson Welles. I have a feeling this next film, though, will have the action, the drama, the romance, and win the box office.
For nearly 3,000 years, man has searched for the lost Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah, they kinda lost the Ark on that flight in 1980. Oh wait, different Ark. Poor Legend of the Lone Ranger. I don't think it's on any screens at this point. We are in the time of Reagan. We're remaking all of his classic films. You know, I reference that movie so much, I should probably review it sometime. It goes without saying, Raiders of the Lost Ark was the highest grossing movie of 1981, and the winner of 5 Academy Awards. Plus, it inspired Cannon Films to say, oh, we can do this. Oh, don't get mad your face keeps getting punched, at least it won't be melted. After the disappointment of 1941, which, whatever, I still love that film, Spielberg kept himself on a much more strict budget and delivered a film considered to be one of the best of all time. Like with Outland, how do I take notes on this when I'm too caught up in the music, the amazing stunt work, the brilliant characters and effects, and the start of one of the greatest franchises of all time? Also, see, it's Raiders of the Lost Ark, not Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Stop it! Though I'm liking how this next trailer is starting. Oh no, the King of the Mountain has crashed into our studio logo! Between Cannonball Run and Raiders, this is a great time for stunt work and gloriously macho heroes.
Hi.
Don't tell me your name. I'll just call you Beauty.
My name is Sexy. Just because Raiders just started doesn't mean other movies aren't gonna do well. Cannonball Run was also one of the biggest hits of 1981, and understandably so. The movie is a live-action wacky races.
And it doesn't matter how you get there. It's who gets there first.
Dead. I know I've said this before, but damn, I miss these giant cast epic comedies.
Jackie Chan. And Roger Moore as himself.
I'm Roger Moore.
You may know me from The Seawolves. The movie wasn't a hit with critics, but it's hilarious, and the cast is awesome.
Normally I drive right around the speed limit.
We all make mistakes, miss. But 160?
Look, she just got back from escaping from New York. You'll find out about that later, officer. How can I not go see this with selling points like this?
The only movie to get over 200 tickets before it even opens.
I smell conspiracy, box office ticket fraud. Oh, never mind. I can't pass up that classic Burt smile. I feel like I've already talked about this next movie, though.
The adventure continues in Superman 2.
Yeah, I made sort of an oopsie in the 1980 video. Kinda. I spotlighted Superman 2 in the 1980 in film episode because oftentimes it is listed as a 1980 movie due to having a release in Spain, France, and Australia in 1980. But it got its US release in 81, where, like Raiders and Cannonball Run, also became one of the highest grossing movies of the year. This is a great time for theaters to be packed. Oh well, I guess it's okay to talk about it twice. Maybe this is the Donner cut of trailer reviews. However, not every movie released in these weeks was a hit. Enter Dragon Slayer.
There's a great task needing to be done.
Let's blow up the set! But it's a Peter MacNicol fantasy epic, so I'm down.
But your children were dying!
Only a few. Does that sound cruel?
And there's good lines in it, too. The movie was somewhat controversial at the time, as it was a joint production of Paramount and Disney, yet had a lot more adult-oriented material than a typical Disney movie of the era. Imagine if Excalibur were a joint Disney production. Those people protesting Dragon Slayer would jump out a window. But this next movie is limiting its audience even more.
For your eyes only.
Great, guess I'm the only one allowed to watch it. A new James Bond movie? Seawolves might not have been a hit, but Roger's making up for that with a couple big ones. For Your Eyes Only was not only a huge hit, but helped United Artists make up for some money it lost due to Heaven's Gate. Although it was the last Bond movie to be solely released by United Artists, but the first to be directed by Bond editor John Glenn. Oh wait, what am I supposed to be looking at here? Oh, it's the logo. As long as it's all for me!
For your amazement, this Bond is for you.
That's nice and all, but this one isn't one of my favorites. I do respect the movie. It attempted to go back to being a bit more of a serious Bond film after the campiness of something like Moonraker, and despite its silly opening. I don't know, in the times I've seen this, I usually get bored by it, and I'm a Bond freak. Maybe it was the campiness that was carrying Rogers at this point in his Bond career, because I would rather watch Octopussy or A View to a Kill. Though I appreciate it does acknowledge the events of one of the series' best, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, between similar action scenes and him visiting Tracy's grave. Plus, Sheena Easton's theme is really good. But some movies sell me on a lot of flips, having almost Chuck Norris and the title.
Force 5.
Wait, isn't that the pilot Mia Wallace was in? And hell, I'm pretty sure they used this poster for Zombie 3. Yes, the Hustler needed way more karate, and possibly turning into porn.
What I need is a woman who can think and fight and chew gum at the same time.
Is that his fetish? He likes a woman who thinks about whether she wants bubblicious or bubble yum. From Robert Klaus, the director of Enter the Dragon, good thing there's a weight room, these karate heroes can go full slasher villain. It has not one but 5 martial arts champions.
Benny the Jet Urquidez, World Full Contact Welterweight Champion.
And he will crash your high school reunion. With Master Bong Soo-han, I hope this means it's an unofficial sequel to Fistful of Yen.
Reverend Ray is the leader of a worldwide church with a very large following of dedicated young people.
I thought it was more of a cult.
You are karate stomping on their religious freedom. Ooh, this looks scary. Wait, is it a slasher film? It's like Enter the Dragon meets Jonestown. I'm sold.
Force 5.
As you can see, those are also the explosions going on in my pants. But you know the rules of comedy this summer. It must also be a caper. A great Muppet caper, if you will.
Announcing the Great Muppet Caper. It's a new Muppet movie.
Yeah, the Muppets are great, but you know what the best part is.
That's my new receptionist dancing out there.
She's sensational.
Charles Grodin in lust with Miss Piggy.
A backstage romance, and the jealousy begins.
Don't put a door between us.
Yes, we're getting Seems Like Old Times with the Muppets. Excellent. And there's more people in it, too.
Starring everybody.
History of the World Part 1, Cannonball Run, and Holy Moses already starred everybody. And in case you don't know what the title means...
What's a caper? I think it's a small chicken.
See, we're gonna run over a bunch of chickens while chasing a baseball diamond. Either explosive comedies are continuing, or it's a hard drama and Bill goes full Taxi Driver.
Are you stuck in a dead-end job?
No, I'm talking about movies like Stripes for a living. My job is great. I don't need the army.
Oh, I knew it. She was walking next to me singing.
Or do I? I can sing the hits of Manfred Mann. Stripes is excellent. The funniest movie with 2/3 acts. And with the success of Meatballs, it helped solidify Bill Murray's power as a leading man. And still with an ensemble cast of hilarious people.
You're a trained killer! You're a lean, mean, violent machine!
Come for the comedy, stay for the mud wrestling. Ooh, the theater is telling me it's the 40th anniversary. Wait, all of these movies are 40th anniversaries. Grow some balls, movie theaters, and re-release Heart Beeps. This gives us all the RV action we missed in Damnation Alley. Even the title is wacky.
Boom, shakalaka, boom, shakalaka, boom, shakalaka, boom.
That's a title screen that should also be put on double secret probation. This army's going by Animal House rules. You want some adult horror entertainment at the end of June? Well, Demonoid has nudity that I had to cut out of the trailer.
Its time has come again. Demonoid.
So scary it made the ground ejaculate. The film was a co-production with the US and Mexico, and while the Force 5 may have taken care of Karate Jonestown, what about Stuart Whitman's Johnsontown? How will this end?
Is it the last of its kind? Or the first of many to come?
No, there's no sequel to this. I love how it tells us it's a Red Band trailer after the trailer ends. Sorry, kids in the audience here for the Great Muppet Caper. Stuart will kill you in your sleep. Screw your nice dreams. Before we start talking about the films of July, it's best we clean up after all the explosions, car crashes, and slasher killings. Plus, I should probably stop procrastinating and change that poster. There, all feels right now as we have switched out the poster to reflect the most important film of 1981, Amy! Lest you forget, she taught them to speak, they taught her to love. And the poster taught me that there's at least one person now who has bought a poster for Amy. But enough poster talk, we're in the middle of summer and must continue with these hits.
S.O.B.
Son of a bitch! Or S.O.B. rather. It's Blake Edwards' S.O.B.
Blake Edwards, the man who gave the world the Pink Panther.
And my favorite comedy of all time, The Great Race. This was Edwards' follow-up after the mega success of 10 and is a satire of Hollywood and other things.
Okay. See you on the beach, huh?
Sure. Damn, 80s grocery stores were highly questionable. And it's an 81 comedy, so it has to have crazy shit with cars. I do remember liking this, though it's been a while. It's got a great plot where William Holden is a director who makes a flop and tries to salvage it by turning it into a sex film. But here's what the selling point was.
Starring Julie Andrews, as you've never seen her before. Topless.
Finally, I can pleasure myself to Mary Poppins in peace. I liked the era of Blake Edwards' sex comedies, between this and the underrated movies Skin Deep and the hilarious Blind Date. And like all Edwards, there's plenty of slapstick. Yes, but what about the nudity?
The motion picture that exposes America's sweetheart.
Come for the sons of bitches, stay for the reason Maria was kicked out of the convent. Now this next one I'm plenty more familiar with, as it's one of the greatest action films of all time, and a future history lesson.
1988. The crime rate in the United States rises 400%.
I remember that year. I couldn't do my paper route without getting a wedgie from rival gangs.
1991. The United States Police Force is formed.
I blame parachute pants.
1997. New York City is a walled maximum security prison.
Yes, but it was the late 90s, so they just did that ironically. Escape from New York is a symphony of awesome, with a cool trailer where all you need to know is the soundtrack, badass still shots, and the amazing cast.
Harry Dean Stanton as Brain.
Maurice LaMarche was too busy that weekend. And yes, being stuck in New York is the reason Adrienne Barbeau is falling behind in the Cannonball Run. The film was a huge hit for John Carpenter and sealed Kurt Russell's awesomeness as an action star. Plus, like its sequel, both have great trailers that make you want to see the movie to find out more. But relax, parents. Between the sex comedies and the action films, there's still Disney flicks.
After 4 years in the making, Walt Disney Productions proudly announces...
Downside, those 4 years led to dated references about Jimmy Carter's inauguration ceremony. The Fox and the Hound was Disney's 20th animated feature, and sure, it's zany, but needs more car accidents and stating the obvious.
Look at that. A fox and a hound.
I'm not sure I understand.
I'm a fox. My name's Todd. I'm a hound dog.
Oh, that's what the title means. They start as friends but become enemies, just like angels with dirty faces.
Papa's gonna come back a trained hunting dog. A real killer.
It was ballsy of Disney to make a serial killer origin story. Though with the trailer's tonal shift, I don't know how to feel.
Best friends make the worst enemies.
The hell? hell? Am I supposed to be happy or afraid? You just scared the shit out of me with a bear. This is more inconsistent than my facial hair in this episode. Of course, this was a big hit for Disney, and in case you don't remember...
I'm a fox. I'm a hound dog.
Oh, I keep forgetting that. Still, we need a movie where it'll be less awkward to walk into shit-faced.
Don't you wish you were Arthur?
Yes, I've always wanted to be B. Arthur. Oh right, the Dudley Moore author. S.O.B. may have been sans Dudley, but we can still get our Dudley fix with this classic.
Would the more attractive of you please step forward?
It's gonna cost you $100.
Damn, he got drunk and stumbled onto the Maniac set. Arthur is just great, with a wonderful cast, which got John Gielgud an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. After he was robbed for Caligula. Oh, right. Sorry, Amy Poster. It's a sweet romantic comedy between Moore and the great Liza Minnelli.
I take it this bum will be calling you.
Dad, he's a millionaire.
You have my permission to marry him.
See, Morty Seinfeld gave you a blessing. It was one of the highest grossing movies of '81, and contains the best laugh next to the Joker, and the awesome theme song.
What do you do for a living?
I race cars, I play tennis, I fondle women, but I have weekends off.
Look, listening to the hits of Christopher Cross will do that to you. Damn, this movie's got more drinking than Paint Your Wagon.
Don't you wish you were me? I know I do.
Don't you wish you were Arthur?
I don't know. I might get in some trouble if I get too fondle happy. You know what isn't a sweet love story, though?
There's only you in my life.
Endless Love sucks. But the trailer is quick to showcase one good thing about it, the title song that was a #1 hit. Plus, the movie was financially successful despite poor reviews. Can't imagine why it got bad reviews!
When they were together, it felt as if the outside world no longer existed.
Except her mom, who was watching her daughter lose her virginity. I mean, I'll say this about it, it's closer to the book's tale of the dangers of obsession, way more than that even shittier remake. There's a lot more melodrama here.
I don't want him in this house. Oh, you're just jealous. You're jealous of us.
What's the worst that could happen? Not like he's gonna burn our house down. Oh, right. Oops. The trailer does kind of make it look like a stalker film, sometimes. Oh man, this is just like The Fan!
If love existed in the world, it would last forever.
Or not, because the stalker is the hero of this movie. But at least there's early appearances of James Spader and Tom Cruise. I know it seems like we're having a string of hits here, but hey, one movie's gotta come along and not do well, and with that we get George Hamilton in Zorro the Gay Blade, where he plays dual roles as Zorro and his twin brother.
Zorro the Gay Blade!
I want to see the pitch to this movie, where someone got high in a producer's office and said, "Dude, I got it. What if Zorro had a gay twin brother?" Though you wouldn't know that from the trailer, since it doesn't say that plot at all, and makes it look like a slightly farcical, slightly straightforward Zorro movie. But if Morty Seinfeld is in a movie this summer, we gotta show some love for Rachel Green's dad, too. Hell, even Zorro the Gay Blade made more money than the Canadian film Gas, not to be confused with 1970 apocalyptic comedy Gas, which should also not be confused with The film was inspired by the 1979 energy crisis and is about a reporter investigating a gasoline shortage that has something to do with stolen milk. Though I'm going to be very disappointed if the movie does not actually have a sexy woman with a gas pump for a head. Now at this point we've seen the slasher movie craze of the 80s, but there's one subgenre of 80s movies that started right here with this next flick.
Here comes the first 3D movie of the 80s, coming at you.
Okay, let's see if these free 3D viewers make a difference.
That's right, the early 80s 3D resurgence. No need to show us the movie, what does the audience think?
Oh, sir, Could you describe in one word just what your 3D viewers made you feel like?
Will you ask me that later? My freaking dick is on fire! Maybe we should talk to someone who isn't about to die.
Did you find that your free 3D viewers, made you part of the explosive action?
Who cares about the movie? Some terrorists just blew up the theater, goddammit! Now with the poster, and it being a 3D movie, it kinda looks like it'd be a comedy, but it really isn't. Coming at you is a really cool, gritty, and stylish Western from producer and star Tony Anthony, and it bathes in its 3D gimmick. You get your money's worth. This thing throws everything at the camera, and makes it R-rated too. It doesn't get talked about nearly as much as some of the other 3D movies of the time, but it did well enough to begin this brief but significant phase in 80s cinema.
When they light the fuse, you hold the dynamite?
Coming at you, rated R.
And then the reporter also died. Yes, Donald Sutherland may have just been in the movie Gas, but is he in the next film too?
Donald Sutherland.
Excuse me?
Yes, he is, but I think a train hit him. Richard Marquand's Eye of the Needle is about a Nazi spy in World War II with vital D-Day information.
Good evening. I'm Henry Baker.
Okay, I believe you. Though the movie is more of a romance film.
A woman with a future.
And a dude who fell by total accident. It doesn't contain the glass shards in the foot kinky romance of the night porter, but I guess it's sensual. I don't see a lot of people bringing this movie up at all, but it did fairly well and got praise from critics. It's interesting going back and seeing what movies weren't flops, but have still been kind of forgotten, despite the book's popularity.
The Ken Follett bestseller that you couldn't put down is now the movie.
Well, maybe one thing could make me put it down.
MGM presents Bo Derek in Tarzan, the Ape Man.
America needs a free hand for the Bo Derek movie. Between this, SOB, and Arthur, it's quite a month for Blake Edwards' 10 alumni. And I think Richard Harris may be drunker than Arthur.
Any expedition on this continent is no place for a woman.
But what if I were topless? Okay, that's fine.
You're my wife, yet you're dead. You're my daughter, and yet I can't see you.
Alright, with this and Endless Love, what's with parents watching their kids naked? This movie is terrible, but is hilariously bad.
I'm going to blow a hole in this ape, stuff him, and hang him on the wall of my closet.
You're not going to touch him.
That is my job. It is better than Bolero and Ghosts Can't Do It, so I guess it's John and Bo Derek's best movie together. Take that for what it's worth.
I'm still a virgin.
Oh, really? God, how was this a hit? We were definitely thinking with our dicks when going to the theater.
The most exotic woman of our time in the most erotic adventure of all time.
Oh sure, if you compare it to Endless Love, it's the most erotic movie of all time. I alluded to this a little with Eye of the Needle, where it's interesting seeing what the zeitgeist actually was at the time versus what people think it was. You can definitely make that point with Brian De Palma's brilliant film Blowout.
It began with a sound that no one was ever supposed to hear.
Oh no, I respect this movie far too much to make a fart joke. This is a movie inspired by Michelangelo Antonioni's 1966 film Blow Up, where in this one John Travolta is a movie sound man who picks up a murder while recording background noises.
He recorded a murder they say never happened.
The film is stunning in every way, shape, or form. It's not only one of my favorite De Palma films, but in my opinion, Travolta's best film of the 80s, with an ending that, boy, is it ballsy and dark. Good scream. It's a good scream. Sadly, though, the movie was not a hit at the time, but going off of what I was saying a minute ago, you have all of these movies like The Four Seasons, a good movie that was a giant hit, but you never see it get brought up anymore. Whereas Blowout in 2021 constantly gets the love and respect that it definitely deserved back in '81. It got a bit of a resurgence too, and it got a very cool Criterion release. Hell, even the trailer is a masterpiece of style.
I've decided to terminate her. Terminate her. Terminate her.
Somewhere James Cameron thought, I got it, Terminator! And yes, Blowout is great, but where are my July horror movies at?
4, 3,
Yes, the countdown has ended and Wolfen is here. Little did they know on set of Fort Apache, the Bronx, that it was wolves that caused this. Wolf is a fun, underrated horror thriller about a cop investigating wolf-like murders, yet Tarzan the Ape Man made more money. That's just sad. I always liked this movie. I remember I first heard of it from the Michael Keaton movie The Dream Team when I saw that in theaters. Because there's a scene where Keaton tries scaring the shit out of his fellow patients by describing Wolfen to them. The movie is suspenseful as hell, with a killer trailer that shows off its style.
Wolfen.
They say there's no defense, but they do blow a lot of shit up. Oh yeah, and this next bad comedy also made more money than Wolfen.
Guess what happened when 150 midgets checked into a hotel in Hollywood to make one of the world's biggest movies?
The trailer guy gets cancelled. Yes, Eye of the Needle isn't the only Nazi spy movie released.
The cable!
And believe you me, it's not short on action.
Though Eye of the Needle had significantly less short jokes. The film stars Chevy Chase and Carrie Fisher, and is about shenanigans at a hotel containing spies and the Munchkins from Wizard of Oz.
And you better believe it's not short on laughs.
Is it? Because I think that's the only joke in the trailer. Need more?
If you haven't already guessed, it'll be out shortly.
You're running out of ways to say short.
Under the Rainbow, a giant comedy.
There, mix it up by saying giant. Hell, Eye of the Needle isn't even the only World War II movie out this month.
The Nazis thought they were sitting on top of the world, never suspecting that they could be toppled in one conflict.
And that conflict, soccer, bro. Victory stars Sylvester Stallone and Michael Caine, and a ton of pro footballers, making the movie a decent success.
The Third Reich's finest against a ragged bunch of prisoners of war. The Germans thought they had it made.
But Hitler didn't count on our secret weapon, Pele. The movie asks, what if Boys in Company C was in World War II and mostly about the soccer? And T, of course.
Well, I'm an orphan. I have no parents, no money, I'm not married. I don't even have a pet.
Damn it, Rambo, put down the T and blow up some bad guys. Victory is a cool flick though, certainly a treat for Stallone fans, as it's nice seeing him in a more ensemble film. But what's with a lot of these trailers saying, you've never seen anything like it?
Victory. You've never seen anything like it.
I don't know, needs more Munchkins if it's gonna stand out like Under the Rainbow, though it is good enough for me to have an emergency big box in my jacket. Then again, my jacket also has SOB for when I'm on those long car rides and need to look at Julie Andrews naked. It's too bad we're now in August, because you know what could have helped Stallone and Caine achieve victory sooner?
Who can save Princess Juliet? Held captive by the evil Count Lorca.
Superman, but he was busy in another film. Condor Man was quite the flop for Disney, but definitely went on to achieve cult movie status, as I've even seen people want Condor Man to be introduced into the MCU. I completely agree with that. While it was a critical flop too, I gotta say, I am impressed with these chase sequences. I'd rather watch this film than some of the modern-day Disney movies any day of the week. Hell, the movie's such a cult film, I see way more people talking about this than 1981's other movie, Chariots of Fire, and that won Best Picture. You know what else is great about it?
He is not an agent of the CIA! He is a writer of comic books!
The amazing over-the-top performance by Oliver Reed. And the costume. Flawless. Absolutely flawless. There's something about this that feels like it should also have a Queen soundtrack like Flash Gordon. But if it's soundtrack you want...
Heavy metal. A trip beyond the future.
I bet it has lots of disco. I'm through with masturbating to SOB, now I need some good old-fashioned adult cartoons.
A universe of magic.
Oh, so that's what South Park was referencing. No fair. I huffed cat piss and the only thing I saw was the Fox and the Hound banging. Gerald Potterton's Heavy Metal, co-produced by Ivan Reitman, was a mild success, and you can see why with this lineup. Need some good 1981 country music, like the Burrito Brothers. July managed the impossible feat of there not being a slasher film in that month. Will the next movie solve that? It's like they're asking for a slasher killer to show up. Linda Blair stars in Hell Night, where in order to get into the fraternity, they must stay in a haunted mansion for one night. With these torches, they're not even gonna need a killer. They'll burn the place down themselves. And the fact that they're quite the slasher movie types.
Hey, let's party! Quaaludes and Jack Daniels.
Oh my gosh.
You're both dead. While the movie only made $2 million, that still doubled the profit because it only cost $1 million to make. I bet half the budget went to the severed heads. See? The person who gets head in these movies always dies. It's the early adventures of Sloth from the Goonies. The boys were right to be afraid of him at first. Damn, they're just showing the whole movie. Though you'll have to see it for yourself to find out if anyone dies in the mansion weight room. How popular were slasher movies in the early 80s?
Hello, it's me, the heavy breather from every horror film you've ever seen.
So popular that Student Bodies is a parody of slasher films that is out the same weekend as Hell Night, a slasher film. This movie definitely feels like the writer has seen a lot of these flicks. And it's a pretty damn funny movie. While there was no Woody Allen movie in 1981, there's still this movie that's written and directed by Mickey Rose, Allen's co-writer on What's Up Tiger Lily, Bananas, and Take the Money and Run. The movie gained huge popularity, not necessarily from theaters, but on late-night cable airings, whether it was HBO, Cinemax, or USA Up All Night. Hell, Mickey Rose was also an uncredited writer on Condor Man. He's got 2 cult films in 1 week. It's a clever trailer, too, that's hosted by the killer, who's doing a good job of selling this thing.
Dead bodies downfield, 15-yard penalty.
But of course, I think it's some kind of law where they have to say it's a killer comedy.
See Student Bodies, a killer comedy.
And the movie is better than Wacko. You know who kills more people than slasher killers, though? Chuck Norris.
White Lightning is back.
White Lightning was a Burt movie, and Gator was the sequel to that. Thank you very much. But even though the movie isn't a slasher film, sometimes the trailer kind of feels like it. Even the poster looks like it. Damn, did slashers dominate the year. I'm confused about what to make of this trailer. He has no beard or mustache. Given the movie starts with his partner, Terry Kaiser, getting killed, I'm disappointed the rest of the movie isn't him dragging around Terry's body. This movie breaks all the rules!
Your undercover operation was the best kept secret this narcotics bureau has ever had, so tell me something, my friend.
Now the shoe is on the other foot and it's Shaft yelling at these loose cannon detectives. This has all the action. See, he even fights Sub-Zero from The Running Man! Luckily, the camera had protective bulletproof glass over the lens to protect itself from Chuck's foot. Now this next one may look like a simple drama.
In this quiet community of simple farmers, untouched by time.
It's a slasher movie. Just wait for the ladies to show up.
Drawn by the beauty of the land, unaware.
I'm calling it. Catherine Trammell did it. Deadly Blessing is directed by Wes Craven, kind of a bridge between his earlier gritty movies, see, it's even got Michael Berryman in it, and his future success with something like A Nightmare on Elm Street. Even the poster looks like a prototype for the Elm Street poster. And early usage of Elm Street's buckets of blood. Great, you just wasted our fake blood! Ernest Borgnine got a Razzie nomination for this, undeservedly so.
If thine hand offends thee, then in God's name, cut it off!
It's the best supporting performance since Oliver Reed in Condor Man. Just what is the killer here?
The incubus has arrived.
Then why is it called Deadly Blessing and not Incubus? Can't tell Wes Craven made this movie. Could be worse, could be Freddy. This movie looks batshit insane. I don't even know if it's a slasher film, since it looks like everything in the community wants to kill these girls. Though while Escape from New York told us what happened in New York in the 80s and 90s, what about the 70s? Very true. New York did exist in the 70s. I have the feeling Prince of the City is a bit more dramatic.
Well, you're just out to hurt us. You want to lay the whole system on us. But nobody cares about me but my partner!
This one's going for some Oscars. It's the full Serpico!
His name is Detective Danny Cello.
Sorry, Danny Cello. Sidney Lumet, the director of Serpico, also brought us this film, another tale of a cop taking down corruption, so the movie did get compared quite a bit to the other movie, getting it mixed reviews.
In their hearts, they want to admit their guilt. That's the way cops are. That's how you got here.
Though this one's more about taking down slackers. The plot's familiarity may have contributed to the low box office, but it's still a well-acted flick. Treat Williams is great in it. And it did get some nominations come award season. On the plus side, it did make more money than our next film, Nobody's Perfect.
Meet the outpatients of the Knollwood Clinic. Dibley.
Damn, I knew I shouldn't have mentioned the Dream Team earlier. Now I'm looking at its prototype.
And Walter. He was born in the middle of a Cagney-Betty Davis double feature.
You look at these ridiculous clothes. I look like Judy Garland.
This movie seems obnoxious. The film stars Gabe Kaplan, a great stand-up who did brilliant work on Welcome Back, Kotter, but sadly never quite made the successful transition to movie stardom. The film is about fighting bureaucracy in City Hall because their car's cut in half. I don't know.
Walter, I'm glad you asked me that question. What was the question?
My question is, what is this movie?
I like it.
I love it.
I hate it.
Damn, I knew we shouldn't have brought along the critics. Even these characters seem random.
With the heart of a stripper and the patience of a saint.
Excellent. I love when my strippers dress like the brides of Christ. This immediately feels like a zany comedy that will have explosions, tanks, and car accidents.
Nobody's perfect.
Tell me about it. The movie can't even spell the word perfect. But enough horror movies and comedies, we need a mixture of horror and comedy from the great John Landis. Uh-oh, Bluto got bit by the wolfen. American Werewolf in London is a cautionary tale to beware the Moors. The trailer just lays it all out there.
I understand, all right. You're one of the undead, and I'm a werewolf.
Yes.
Can't get much more straightforward than that. This movie is one of my favorites. A brilliant mixture of horror and laughs, with kind of an eerie trailer that's random scenes with no musical score, giving it a humorous but uneasy feeling.
I'm a werewolf.
A werewolf.
She taught him to speak, he taught her to moon dance. The movie also has one of the greatest endings ever, a total troll ending, and I love it. The trailer wisely doesn't give away its most famous sequence, the transformation scene, which won Rick Baker the first ever Oscar for Best Makeup, and it's a scene that is yet to be topped to this day. And while the trailer is mostly without the soundtrack, it does keep the credence. Okay, On Golden Pond isn't out yet, so there's gotta be something else to take the parents to.
The Supreme Court of the United States.
This better not get political. This is first Monday in October. I can't see this film being dated.
The president has done something that could alter the face of American politics forever.
A woman. He picked a woman.
A woman on the Supreme Court? Preposterous! Now, if the movie was about picking a chimpanzee to be on the Supreme Court, then it would be timeless. This movie is like On the Basis of Sex meets Quarterback Princess.
Good morning.
The men on this court have got to stick together. After all, there are only 8 of us left.
Sometimes I'm glad when a movie came out years before Twitter, cause I can picture the discourse on social media now, and it's given me a headache. The movie was actually rather topical upon release. It was originally supposed to be released in February of '82, but when President Reagan appointed Sandra Day O'Connor in July of '81, they moved the movie's release ahead to be released a month after her nomination.
I like women. My wife's a woman. The bench will smell better with a little perfume on it.
And I hope the Sandra Day O'Connor nomination went just like that. Hang on, gotta mark my calendar for this. When is it?
First Monday in October.
Released on the third Friday of August. You Had One Job, movie. Now, while a lot of people still to this day talk about Heaven's Gate being a notorious bomb, many forget Honky Tonk Freeway.
There's a sleepy little southern town
We are desperate. This is a resort town.
which is about to wake up and put itself on the map.
It bombed because there's no sharks. The movie was a monster flop, costing a whopping $25 million, but only brought in $2 million. What do you mean audiences weren't interested in a madcap satire of infrastructure? And where's my nuns and car chases? I need my Cannonball Run and Nobody's Perfect fix.
Everybody's going fast.
Thank you. You mean this trailer didn't sell the audience with its piss jokes?
You're holding back your feelings every man in the way you live.
Great. They got use out of the one joke not used in Under the Rainbow. I've not actually seen this, so I don't know. Maybe it's underrated? I do respect that director John Schlesinger stuck by the movie after he was surprised by the negative reactions. The trailer, though, is a bit much. This trailer seems a bit unfocused. And if car crashes and randomness aren't enough for you, how about the tagline?
Honky Tonk Freeway. Get off on it.
See, that's where you messed up. You invited people with a crash fetish to masturbate in the theater. Speaking of bombs in the US, what's this? Robert Stigwood and Rupert Murdoch? Excellent. I always wanted a cross between Saturday Night Fever and Tucker Carlson Tonight. The movie Gallipoli has me sold on a couple of things. Mel Gibson and that radical synth score. Gallipoli's an Australian war film that did find financial and critical success domestically, but didn't fare too well being released in the US. No matter how many laser sound effects they put in the trailer. They look like they're in pain once the soundtrack goes away. Don't know what that movie's about, but I want to listen to the soundtrack while playing Vice City. While there were a few hits this month, however, man, this August certainly leads itself to the term August dumping ground.
Choo-choo and the Philly flag.
What in the fuck is Choo Choo and the Philly Flash? Here's a movie so forgotten, the only trailer I could find is someone filming the projection from a 35mm reel. It's a movie about gangsters and baseball, I think.
They're up against the mobsters, the morons. Give me some
This movie seems loud, but is there a car crash?
the air. And the fate of the world has fallen.
I don't know, but a hot dog stand got destroyed. I don't even think the projector likes it, since I'm pretty sure it burned the film. Again, not everything was a bomb this month, though, as we get a sexy-ass movie that's way better than Tarzan the Ape Man. This movie is burning sexiness right into the screen, unlike Choo Choo and the Philly Flash, that again burned the projector. In the tradition of Double Indemnity, it's a femme fatale thriller that launched Kathleen Turner's career as a movie star. It's a solid erotic thriller, where the trailer is kind of the opposite of Werewolf in London, where this one is no dialogue and just the sounds. But if you got some blue balls from Body Heat, relax. You can finish yourself off at the next movie, Private Lessons, or don't. Excellent. I always pleasure myself to the music of John Cougar Mellencamp.
Private Lessons is not about learning how to chase cars or chase balls.
Wait, it's not about chasing cars? Then what the hell is this movie doing in theaters? Ooh, this movie gives new meaning to the term hot for teacher.
Private Lessons is all about growing up and learning how to chase women.
and going to jail for sleeping with your students. God, this movie is like sex offender risky business.
Would I like to what? Take a bath with me. You mean in there with you right now?
I don't see how this could be more awkward.
Don't say a word, my virgin child.
Oh, that unfortunate placement of Tonight's the Night will do. But while Body Heat launched Kathleen Turner's career, Private Lessons was Sylvia Kristel's break into American cinema after her international success in Emmanuel. The movie, however...
Sometimes Boy Meets Woman is more fun than Boy Meets Girl, but he has a lot more to learn before graduation day.
Like how to be the most popular kid in school, and be the subject of a round-the-clock scandal on 24-hour news. Come on, Johnny Fever, you should cover this story on air.
What happened to him should happen to you. Eric Brown, the luckiest kid on the block. Your own fantasies come to life.
Holy crap. I feel like I should be in jail just watching this trailer. Don't worry, the movie was a hit, and there was a sequel where I think she fled to Japan. When we come back, it's Mommy Dearest. Nothing bad happens to kids in that one. The summer movie season may be over, but the title of September's first movie, Night School, asks, will this be a slasher film, or clearly the original version of the Kevin Hart comedy Night School? Okay, so it's definitely a slasher film, but unfortunately, the year's other slashers killed everyone, so there's nobody left. Kidding, we can still kill lots of people.
Something happens to the girls who attend night school.
They graduate? This serves you right for failing the final exam and not even making it to graduation day. The hell is the killer gonna be here?
Modern man has only to take a short step to wind up in the primeval jungle of his ancestors.
Okay, where is this going? Oh, they're just gonna die. So much for graduating. And Halloween Kills taught me that if you play around on playground equipment, someone will kill you and put a silver shamrock mask on your head. The movie only broke even at the box office, but with it being labeled as a video nasty, it does have a cult following, and it teaches you that night school is cool.
Prepare for a lesson in terror. Night school.
That's not the class I signed up for. Why is that in the lesson plan? And in case you've already forgotten about Gallipoli and that sweet soundtrack, we got another Australian Mel Gibson movie, Tim, that was released in Australia in 1979, but got its US release in '81. It's hard to find a trailer for this, but you can find an Australian TV promo.
A 22-year-old fit, firm Mel Gibson stars as an innocent young man in the 70s Aussie classic, Tim.
Look, back then, every promo announcer wanted to bang Mel Gibson. See, they should have combined two movies into one and named it Tim Gallipoli. Then it would have been a hit in the States. And yes, in tight-fitting jeans.
See Mel pre-Hollywood in some tight-fitting jeans.
My erection gives it 10 inches out of 10. Clearly, we need to bring back horny trailers. Have you forgotten about Private Lessons so soon?
Private lesson number 1. Learn to work with your hands.
Forget the 10 inches, I'm looking at 10 years! Now you may be asking, where's the exploitation movies at? 1981 did get international releases for The Beyond, Zombie Lake, House by the Cemetery, and Cannibal Ferox, but they didn't get a US release till a couple years later, so look for those to be spotlighted then. But never fear, we've still got some Italian exploitation in '81, like the US release of Antonio Margheriti's Cannibal Apocalypse, that takes the cannibalism out of the jungle and into the city. And with John Saxon on top of that, sold, and the cannibalism is caused by crazy Vietnam vet Giovanni Lombardo Radice, double sold. How will the city defend itself from this?
My gosh, son, put it down.
perfectly natural reaction to that. Cannibalism is known to cause roaming motorcycle gangs and make you such a good shot that you don't even have to point the gun at them. The movie is a lot of fun, with great effects, and even better, it's a cannibalism film with no animal cruelty. Though if you want to keep the big city shenanigans without the cannibalism, there's always John Belushi.
He's a newspaper man with a big name in a big city.
He's gonna turn into a dog, isn't he? Not quite. The Delta House went too far this time, so John goes to the Rocky Mountains to hide out in Continental Divide, a romantic comedy.
She lives where the air is thin. Her work means everything to her.
I like her. She saved Manimal's life. This is a classic opposites attract movie.
She's into oxygen. He's into nicotine.
Will they ever get along? The movie did okay at the box office and got decent reviews, and it's notable for being the first movie produced by Spielberg's Amblin Entertainment. Ed Bluto will always find a way to check out the ladies.
He found himself losing his nerve.
Lock up when you leave, okay?
Then again, in this one, he is mauled to death. One of the many great things about John Belushi is how, even in his short film career, dude showed a lot of range. Between Animal House, Continental Divide, Neighbors, and Old Boyfriends, he is not the same character in any of those, and knocks it out of the park every time. Plus, this is a great Chicago movie too, on top of that. However, it was the next film that got 5 Oscar nominations.
It has been recognized as a masterpiece of modern literature.
Yes, we are getting that Battlefield Earth adaptation.
Only an actress of the most special talents could portray them on the screen.
Linda Lovelace deserved her nomination for this. Oh wait, it's Meryl Streep. I could have guessed that a movie called The French Lieutenant's Woman would star Meryl Streep. That is what it's called, right?
I am the French lieutenant. Oh.
The hell? That's not the title. This seems like a layered romance.
One before the cameras, one behind the scenes.
Ooh, is it meta? If one of them isn't attacked by a mountain lion or a bear in the Rockies, why am I here? The movie also features Jeremy Irons and a hell of a lot of making out, and with some other acclaimed names attached too.
In a Carol Rice film, written for the screen by Harold Pinter.
From the director of Full House and the writer of The Handmaid's Tale. Different Full House and different Handmaid's Tale. While I haven't seen The French Lieutenant's Woman, it's the next film that should have also been well received in award season.
We're ready for you, Miss Crawford.
And I'm being serious. Mommy Dearest is based on the memoir of Joan Crawford's adopted daughter Christina, and it seems like a fairy tale so far.
Yes, you will.
By that I mean scary old school fairy tales before Disney made them brighter. I love talking about this film. The movie was a success at the box office, but was savaged by critics to the point to where it won Worst Picture and Worst Actress at the Razzies and Worst Picture of the Decade. That is insane. Mommy Dearest is a criminally underrated movie that's not just disturbing and showing truly scary scenes of abuse, but also just how the Hollywood system itself destroyed this person's sanity. It's gone on to become a camp classic, and sure, if you look at some isolated scenes, it might seem funny, and it's definitely a quotable film, but in context to everything happening, and looking at them in the full-length film, the movie is chilling, easily helped by Faye Dunaway's fearless performance that freaking goes for it. Even the trailer gives me shivers. Seriously, give this movie a chance. It deserves better than its reputation. I can't vouch for this next movie's reputation, though.
Raggedy Man.
Because I've never seen it. The hell is Raggedy Man? Well, it does have Sissy Spacek in it.
The eyes of Gregory, Texas, are upon her.
What is this, an Oscar bait I spit on your grave? The movie is the story of a divorced woman having an affair with a sailor. My curiosity is piqued. You throw in some 80s Eric Roberts, it might be awesome. Though you will have to inform me if any of them have a relation to a French lieutenant. The movie wasn't a hit and was quickly forgotten, since the trailer doesn't really have a hook.
A divorced woman like yourself has got no business with some young boy over here.
Right? Don't you remember the rules of private lessons?
private lesson number 2. You don't have to swim to enjoy water.
One of them needs to piss in the lake. The movie looks like the Cracker Jack boy having an affair with Wendy from the Wendy's sign. I don't know what the tone of this is.
She has so much to fight for, and so many to fight.
Why does this town want her dead? Does this turn into Straw Dogs in the last act? Anyway, back to a story of an actress and her bad relationship with her daughter, a mere week after Mommy Dearest. This is Only When I Laugh, based on Neil Simon's play The Gingerbread Lady.
She's a daughter who never had a childhood.
Well, that put it better than the other Christy McNichol movie this year.
Sweet little Christy McNichol isn't that little anymore.
And that's not even from Private Lessons. The movie is less Mommy Dearest.
But when they get together, they're the most mismatched roommates since the Goodbye Girl.
And more Gilmore Girls. The film was a hit and got a few Oscar nominations too, though it did get James Coco a Razzie nomination, which means he's probably great in it. The movie really is like The Odd Couple meets The Goodbye Girl.
Hey, you watch the way you talk to me. Then make me do something about it. You're a mother. Why don't you act like one? All right.
Boo! If this were Mommy Dearest, she would have been denied dinner and sent to a convent. Though I am all for Marsha Mason being awesome as always.
And Christy McNichol in Neil Simon's Only When I Laugh.
Plus, the school put on a musical version of The Warriors. Just kidding, it's not The Warriors. Wait for the title drop.
Only when I laugh.
Well, better than the French Lieutenant's Woman's title drop. No one here says, "Only when I laugh, you whore." Don't know if there'll be any laughing in the next movie, though, but maybe. The movie is The Boogans, and with a title like that, it could be anything. A movie about small creatures, a family with the last name Boogans who are secretly monsters. What is it? Your guess is as good as mine. This trailer is random. So the Boogans are sewer-dwelling turtle creatures, and it was produced by Charles Sellier Jr., who went on to direct Silent Night, Deadly Night. Whether you're a slasher villain or a turtle, the rule is always go after someone just out of the shower. They can't escape.
There is no escape. The Boogans.
And if they don't kill you, you'll blow yourself up in the house. You could still have a worse day than that. Huh? I lost my job, my family left me. What else can go wrong? Hi, Dad! Ooh, it'll be the best comedy since my baby is black! Need more story?
Walter Whitney had it all. A high society estate, furnished with a high society spouse.
Oh. Keep the housekeeper away from your young son, though. If anything is selling this, it's the dramatic reactions.
And one day, something showed up.
Hi, Daddy.
Oh my god. What's next? A female Supreme Court justice? The movie is mainly known as the film debut of Denzel Washington and the subtlety of Paul Haggis's crash.
God will never forgive you for having a black child.
How do you know, Vivian? Maybe he'll be pleased. Maybe God is black.
Wow, this is dated. We all know God is black. And what's worse, he's not even good at basketball.
I have to be the father of the only black kid who can't play basketball.
Oh, he'll win a couple of Oscars to make up for it. Dad's life sure is in the toilet.
When you're going down the toilet, getting there is all the fun.
And he's in a lot of trouble.
I'm Jewish, my son is black, and my lawyer smokes pot. Don't tell me I'm not in trouble.
It's like a Denzel sitcom.
And introducing Denzel Washington, Carbon Copy.
Oh, sorry, Denzel Washington. I don't see people outraging about this movie.
Any resemblance between father and son is purely hysterical.
Hysterical or not, I think we can all agree it's no Soul Man. Even though this is the movie with Denzel Washington, the Oscars are saved for this movie, Chariots of a Fiery Musical Score. Oh hey, the song from National Lampoon's Vacation! Chariots of Fire is the story of two men, one Christian, the other Jewish, who compete in the 1924 Olympics. Will they ever get along? The movie would go on to win 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, and it makes sense the trailer is mostly the soundtrack, and the narrator quoting that critics loved it, since that's mainly what I remember about the movie. It got a limited release in New York and LA in September of '81, before going wider in '82. But more about those critics.
The New York Times calls it rousing and invigorating.
Sorry, I only trust the word of Dan Aykroyd's brother Peter. Oh wait, wrong Peter Aykroyd. Legendary actor Anthony Quinn liked it though. I am shocked that that won Best Picture and Not So Fine starring Ryan O'Neal.
Hello.
Hello. I fool around.
Bizarre. Is it a story about robots?
You got some set of hands.
I got some set of everything.
Okay, so it's a warning to never sleep with Richard Keel's wife, or he'll chase you like the giant chasing Jack down the beanstalk. Actually, the story is that when he's on the run from Keel, he rips his pants, and then this happens.
This is sensational! Unbelievable! Since when is your dad selling jeans?
He creates assless pants. That's what the movie is about. It's great news for the Tim narrator who wants to see Mel Gibson in those. This is just an excuse for people to fall on their own asses while watching other asses. It's almost like it's a setup for the episode of Seinfeld where Kramer wanted to sue over a car accident from watching the bra top. It has a twist, too, that isn't the pants. What? Ennio Morricone did the music to this? It's part of the Man with No Ass in the Pants trilogy. I'm sure if the next film had assless pants, more people would notice. It's got De Niro and Duvall, so it will definitely get good reviews. At first I was thinking, I don't remember True Confessions. Then when I saw the box cover, I remembered, oh yeah, I do remember that VHS. It stuck out because it was in a big box. Like I said, it did get good reviews, but it's not talked about much. It's about two brothers, one a priest, the other a cop, and has to do with a murder mystery. Nowadays, you could sell it as a prequel to Sleepers. This definitely feels like Cimino-era United Artists, though Cimino didn't have anything to do with it. The director, Ulu Grossbar, did another De Niro movie that I don't remember called Falling in Love, and the story of a two-headed woman in Georgia. As you can see, I struggled to make jokes about True Confessions. This next movie, though, not so much. It is October, so Burt Reynolds has a trick or treat for you. He wants you to carry his fun-sized seed. Any of us would have been honored to carry Burt Reynolds' baby in '81. And if you love that poster, even the trailer seduces you with it.
Burt Reynolds has an unusual proposition.
I want you to have my baby. I want you to be the mother of my son.
Sir, this is a butcher's shop. You have already tried impregnating the meat. The trailer tells us it's PG, so you won't see the conception or anything else.
Next thing you know, they're going to be asking me to take my pants down.
Oh, not yet.
If I can't see Burt naked, then why am I here? Must Cosmo magazine have to do everything? Of the three Burt movies in '81, this is the one I see talked about less, which is maybe why I could only find a TV trailer for it. Sorry, Burt, but we were all dressing in zoot suits for Halloween, thanks to the movie Zoot Suit.
As soldiers marched overseas, young people stepped to the beat of the big band.
And then they beat Hitler in a dance-off. If they can get past the rioting, of course.
Serious rioting broke out here tonight as flying squadrons of Marines and soldiers joined the Navy in a new assault on the Zulu-infested districts.
There's only about 6 people fighting. Should be easy to take care of. The film is directed by Luis Valdez and stars Daniel Valdez and Edward James Olmos. It isn't actually in black and white, so I don't know why the trailer is. There's a lot of weirdness about the movie. It's an adaptation of a Broadway show, and the film version is mostly a regular movie, except for the times when it's not and you can see audience members watching it. This confused some viewers or scared them.
No court in the land's gonna set you free.
'Cause Edward James Olmos is always intense as hell. Maybe if you stopped dancing, we could get our boys out of prison and home from the war.
Zoot Suit, an American original.
Oh yeah? Then why doesn't Burt Reynolds want to impregnate it? I'm over wanting to wear a zoot suit for Halloween, though. I've got other plans. To be a ninja, obviously. It's about time we get back to movies featured on the Cinema Snob. They'll remind you several times this is Enter the Ninja.
The first martial art to sweep the modern world was Jiu-Jitsu.
Wrong, wrong. The first martial art was slap fighting. This is the movie from canon that inspired about 200 Godfrey Ho movies. See, instead of Richard Harrison, we got Franco Nero, sorta.
Give him a message for me.
Yeah?
I don't like to be followed.
I mean, Franco is there, but his voice isn't. Susan George, however, sounds like Susan George.
A strong-willed woman who knows what she wants and just how to get it.
We are not sleeping at all until you give me that mustache ride. There's also Sho Kosugi, who's setting villages on fire until they let him star in the sequel, Return of the Ninja. This looks like they filmed a bunch of ninjas walking through booby traps and turned it into a film. And I'm not entirely sure it's Franco Nero doing all of this. Sadly, the trailer doesn't feature any of Christopher George's wildly over-the-top villain and his even more over-the-top death. And if you need to ask who made this film again...
Enter the Ninja from Canon.
Yeah, no shit. But don't worry, we got horror films in October and some great ones too, like Dead and Buried.
This is the road to Potter's Bluff. Maybe you've been there.
I am a cinema snob. Do I look like I've been to Potter's Bluff? Seems like an okay place. I bet their thrift stores are excellent.
This is the road to Potter's Bluff. There is no road out.
Okay, I'll take the train then. This is a great film, ignored upon release, but gained a huge following later. It's directed by Gary Sherman and co-written by Dan O'Bannon of Alien. It appears something is happening to those who were murdered in this town. They are given unprescribed morphine and are reanimated.
When you die in Potter's Bluff, expect the unexpected.
Bert will still want you to have his baby. Like Paternity, it knows it has a cool poster, so we're gonna put that in the trailer. Lest you make a mistake and accidentally think you're watching a trailer for the Boogans. That won't take my breath away.
It will take your breath away. All of it.
Excellent. It's just like jogging. Jogging like you're being chased by a sorority girl from a frat house comedy, like in Full Moon High. I bet it's about vampires. The movie features a young Adam Arkin and horror sitcom jokes.
You carry the curse of the pentagram.
I've always wanted to go to the Pentagon. Pentagram, stupid.
But this is serious.
Worse than having the mark of the wolf, Tony discovered, he was the wolf.
Stop assaulting the cheerleaders, Tony. This horror comedy is written and directed by the great Larry Cohen and could be a werewolf counterpart to the early Jim Carrey comedy Once Bitten. Hell, even the narrator is doing shtick.
Tony Walker became a hunted man. The werewolf. Man. Wolf. Man. Werewolf.
Okay, you convinced me. I'll just watch An American Werewolf in London again. However, this one is more patriotic.
The commies turned my son into a wolf. I don't know how they did it.
Because they didn't vote for Reagan. Even Alan Arkin is in this too. This could have led to an Arkin showdown in Full Moon High versus Choo Choo and the Philly Flash. This doesn't need a laugh track. You've got Ed McMahon there to laugh for you. And there's Roz Kelly to bring back fond memories of the Paul Lynde Halloween special. If this zaniness is reminding you too much of Saturday the 14th, give it a few weeks. We'll get to that one. Did every high school back then look like a trauma film?
It's not just another sleazy high school movie.
True, I bet it doesn't even have disco. Whoop, there's the disco. Now it's in the prom night universe, with puns.
It's a bite out on the town.
That was such a stretch, it reached the full moon. I'm guessing there will be less puns in the Bruce Dern thriller tattoo.
It has been worn by men and women, scholars and superstars.
Yes, we already know about Ryan O'Neal's assless pants. Oh, right, it's a tattoo story.
It is art. It is flesh. It is the mark.
Look, I just want a tattoo of the Caligula coin on the head of my dick. Is that too much to ask? Tattoo is a weird movie with a stylish trailer that makes it stand out as a stalker flick.
How did you know where to find me?
Well, Maud Adams, there's very few people named Octopussy. Bruce plays a tattoo artist who kidnaps a fashion model. How did that happen?
I never met anyone that does what you do before.
See? He seems normal. You should really check this out, if anything, for the creepy-ass performance by Bruce Dern. This movie is like Windows with a penis and a tattoo needle. And with its memorable sex scene, let's say it's not surprising it's from the producer of The Night Porter. Even people who you don't expect are getting in on the horror films of October.
Something happened in these woods. Something that has never been explained.
Would you believe this is a Disney film? Watcher in the Woods is Disney going for a more young adult crowd, and kinda doing a straightforward horror movie. It tested terribly with audiences, which delayed its release with reshoots, and critics were mixed, but as the years went on, it did gain an audience that appreciated its mood and how it stands out from other live-action Disney movies of the time. And I can think of a few modern movies that it's better than. Take your meme-sploitation movies and shove them up your ass. I'm sticking with Watcher in the Woods. Hell, you can see the movie's cool style in the trailer alone, and definitely has the mark of director John Hoff, who was behind Legend of Hell House and Twins of Evil, with a dire warning of the future.
Whatever happened to my Karen could happen to you.
Uh-oh, she'll get canceled on Twitter, won't she? But brace yourself for the scariest movie of them all.
You ready for your order, gentlemen?
That's right, disappointing appetizers with 0 ranch dressing and no saltines for the cheese and clinker brick wine. Ooh, it'll have music from Tom Jones, Deep Blue something, and wait, what is this now? Whoa, slow down! In the history of classic motion picture meals, the most nourishing is My Dinner with Andre. No, ignoring the shark and just having dinner is exactly what Murray Hamilton wants you to do. Co-written by and co-starring Andre Gregory and Wallace Shaun, the movie is them having dinner and talking about things like life, theater, humanism, death, and for some reason a debate about which is better, Black Christmas or Halloween. The movie was a critical darling, and I can see why. It's a movie about 2 guys having dinner who are phenomenal conversationalists and make the movie entertaining as hell.
10 years from now, people will pay $10,000 in cash to be castrated just in order to be affected by something.
You just got back from seeing Cannibal Ferox, didn't you? Even this trailer can't escape the puns. Food for thought. Of course, I could just stick with the video game version.
Thirsting for a way to name the unnameable, to express the inexpressible.
Tell me more.
While I've been sticking to US release dates, sometimes I'm still not sure when to talk about certain movies. Sure, The Evil Dead had a Detroit premiere in '81, but got a wider release in '83. That's when Siskel and Ebert reviewed it. And poor Roar got its Australian release in '81, but didn't even premiere in the States until 2015. But we can talk about All the Marbles, where Columbo says, "Just one more thing, my dick." It's an inspirational sports comedy.
I've got 2 of the most sensational kids to ever hit this business.
Yeah, that's great. Get me the police. This is exactly how you teach tag team female wrestling.
Why are we doing all the pushing when we're paying all the bills?
Look, he needs them to push the car for obvious reasons.
And he's got respect.
He's on a 50-pack of cigarettes a day diet. United Artists had such high hopes for the film that they had planned to make a sequel called California Dolls Go to Japan, but the movie was a financial disappointment, clearly from straying from the Bad News Bears method of having Breaking Training be the second part. This is just an excuse for the trailer guy to use the terms hard knocks and mudslinging.
They've taken their lumps, the hard knocks, and the mudslinging.
It's like if Rocky was written by the dirty magazines under my pillow. What is even happening here? Remember when Mickey stopped the Creed and Balboa fight by pretending to be blind and made out with Rocky? Coming soon to an ethics committee near you. This is October though, so even in space, there needs to be terror.
Prepare yourself for the ultimate battle.
Clearly a Battle Beyond the Stars ripoff. From producer Roger Corman, and with James Cameron as production designer, the movie also has genre icons such as Sid Haig and Robert Englund, plus drugs. It does feel like an early inspiration for Cameron's Aliens. I love the maze of this ship, and I can't even show you the softcore alien sex. It's like Corman made Bruno Mattei's Shocking Dark before anyone could even see Aliens to rip it off. I am prepared for the space banging.
Galaxy of Terror. The ultimate horror in space.
Yes, but people can still hear you scream, so it's not that horrific. Something tells me we're getting closer to Halloween. We've got another horror film.
Prepare yourself for the most intensely shocking motion picture of our time.
It's on Earth though, and Galaxy of Terror already conquered the universe. What is this again?
The motion picture everyone is talking about.
Hello, Steve?
Well, at least Steve is talking about it. Shit, that kinda did make me jump a little. I don't think that's Steve. Tom Savini was already such a legend at this point. The movie Nightmare even takes time to say he does the effects. This movie is so extreme, it's yet another movie labeled as a video nasty. They couldn't fit the terror or the gore in a regular VHS box, so they had to stuff it all in a big box. Don't really know what that mask is, or if this is real.
It's only a dream, and dreams can't hurt you.
Oh dear sweet naive pre-Elm Street world. This really is one hell of a slasher trailer. The movie looks ruthless as hell. Some gore I can't even show. No wonder the movie actually does have a Caligula reference on a Times Square marquee. Now I don't even know if this movie, The Pit, is a horror movie or a shenanigans-filled comedy of peeking into the hot neighbor's window.
Jamie, what are you doing in here?
I was just watching you sleep.
I don't know, could still be a comedy. See, this is what happens to our kids when they aren't taught private lessons by Sylvia Christel. They become horny killers.
Private lesson number 3. Tell them what they want to hear.
I don't think that you're a whore.
And if he did, it's the bottom of the pit for you, so says Evil Bear. I remember renting The Pit based solely on how hilarious the picture on the back of the box is. And it's hilarious in the movie too. I still think this is a comedy. It's all about where the producers could have thrown their marketing budget for Honky Tonk Freeway and the dreams of an All the Marbles sequel. Curse you, Evil Bear, and your evil pit. Let's get some counter-programming in here. In a season of horror films, obviously a melodrama like Silence of the North will stand out and be a runaway success. It wasn't. I don't know though, seems like a high-stakes adventure.
No, don't go after him! He's got the gun! Walter!
Damn, the Continental Divide got dangerous when John Belushi left. I'm getting some serious French Lieutenant's Woman Always Rings Twice vibes.
From the story of one woman's incredible struggle.
And how much worse it would have been if Sissy Spacek didn't have the Raggedy Man. So yeah, the movie bombed, but the trailer showcases one popular thing about it, the song Comes a Time by Lacey J. Dalton. However, it did gain more recognition on cable TV airings, hence why I couldn't find a theatrical trailer, but did find the 1982 HBO promo. Clearly, we need to get back to horror films. Or the Merchant Ivory Film Quartet. It's the most harumph movie of the year.
You're just trying to shut me off and shut me in, make me into a tame husband.
As if anyone could.
I won't live like that.
Damn, another struggling woman movie? Coal Miner's Daughter really was popular. I'm kidding, the characters are much more wealthy here to let themselves cross dangerous rivers to move Peter Falk's shit from all the marbles. She's still got a friend.
You're not going to be let down. You're with friends.
Oh yeah, I trust you about as much as I trust Bruce Dern to give me a tattoo. Though I wasn't expecting to have to cut away from nudity in about half the trailer. I can still show this lingering shot of a face, though. Yes, I get it. She's hot. Where's the slasher killers?
I shot him 6 times!
Thank you! It's about time there's more of The Night He Came Home. It's fun going back and looking at the first Halloween 2, before the remake Halloween 2, and the other remake Halloween 2, not to mention the other remake of Halloween 2 Part 2. I still like this Halloween 2 the best. Even the trailer demands justice for Ben Tramer. The movie sorta had the same reaction as Halloween Kills, with many critics calling it a major step down that just focused on including more violence. But the movie still has likable characters, some creepy cinematography, great music, and while it wasn't the box office powerhouse of the first one, it was still a great success that made a hell of a profit, along with the year's other slasher box office hits, Friday the 13th Part 2 and Graduation Day. I kinda wonder if it would have had more box office legs if it was released early in the month and not 2 days before Halloween. Sure, it gets called a run-of-the-mill slasher, but having seen some lesser slashers, this one still has a ferociousness and a level of suspense that does set itself apart from a more forgettable slasher movie. And like Hell Night with Student Bodies, it's also released on the same weekend as a parody.
It gets bad on Friday the 13th, but it gets worse on Saturday the 14th.
It's not really a slasher parody though, but the title is. Saturday the 14th stars Richard Benjamin and Paula Prentice, who inherit a house of monsters, and it has the silly jokes that the Full Moon High trailer didn't use.
An innocent family driven absolutely batty.
Needs more.
My name is John Hyatt, and I've got bats in my belfry.
Okay, enough of that. Just set me up for another Elm Street joke. I remember not liking this movie when I did an episode on it, but when I reviewed the movie's sequel, I did notice that this one does have a fan base that grew up with it. Forget this movie though. Where are all my fans of Looker?
I want it. You probably think I'm beautiful, Dr. Roberts, but I'm not.
Oh yeah, you're real hideous. Written and directed by Michael Crichton, Looker is a total American giallo about models killed after receiving plastic surgery recommended from a computer list. And it acts as a heavy satire of the standards of beauty.
Hi, I'm Cindy. I'm the perfect female type, 18 to 25.
Even the poster is stylish in a Skinamax meets Videodrome kind of way. There's notable things about the movie. It was the first film to make a computer-generated 3D body, and the first to use 3D shading with a computer. Plus, Albert Finney had not one, but 2 pretty cool underrated thrillers in '81, between Wolfen and Looker. But the Halloween season ain't over until we get a final scare and some Rocky Horror material.
Say ah.
Huh. Thanks. I just shit out my ass and my mouth. Speaking of great satires not appreciated in their day, I love Shock Treatment. The movie went unnoticed in '81 because it tried a little too hard to capture lightning in a bottle twice by only releasing the movie in midnight showings. The movie deserved better than that. It's a delicious commentary on instant celebrity, a warning about reality television, a dissection of broken marriages, and has a unique style all of its own that doesn't mimic the style of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. The trailer is mostly the title song, Shock Treatment, which is one of the best songs in the film. I love so much about this movie. Jessica Harper is wonderful as Janet, and I actually prefer this Janet. Cliff DeYoung isn't as good as Barry Bostwick as Brad, but DeYoung is awesome as the evil twin brother Farley Flavors. It's almost Brian De Palma-ish in how fun it has with the cinematography. What, don't believe me?
You'll be pathetically crazy about shock treatment. Trust me. I'm a doctor.
Oh, I trust you. It's just going to take some time for the fans to discover the movie. When we come back, it's the month of November, where slasher films take a well-earned nap after the Halloween season. Now that it's November, we can continue on with a different set of movies now that slasher films are taking a rest.
The Prowler.
And that rest lasted a few days, so here's The Prowler, a harsh lesson of 1945.
It was 1945.
I can read. Tell me something I don't know.
The night of the graduation dance. The war overseas had just ended.
Perfect. Why choose either graduation day or zoot suit when you can have both? The movie is the dark history of Stars Hollow that Taylor doesn't want you to know about. The 40s was a dangerous time to have sex. In the 80s, we only worried about slasher killers. In the old days, we had to worry about McCarthy's House of Un-American Sex Positions Act. A majority takes place in present day, though, as a World War II vet kills tons of teens on the anniversary of his girlfriend's death. You took the wrong lessons from Patton, sir.
Whenever the time was right, he'd come back.
And that time was obviously swimming alone or showering without a pitchfork. It makes sense that this is the longest trailer I've watched for 81. No, it wasn't Chariots of Fire or On Golden Pond. It's The Prowler, showing slasher movie dominance. Even though the movie did poorly, it did go on to become a beloved slasher movie, mainly due to the extreme Tom Savini effects. I guess audiences weren't won over by the trailer guy's pitch.
Just when you catch your breath, it starts all over again.
That sounds repetitive. He should have said, The Prowler. If you think there's a lot of slasher films in 81, wait until the sex comedy craze starts in 82. Not that there won't be some sex-crazed films in 81, some just have to go back to the 70s, like John Derrick's Fantasies.
Sie hat ein wunderschönes Gesicht.
No, you go fuck yourself. So this was a German production, made in 73, but due to Bo Derrick's success in 10, and John and Bo's 1981 success with Tarzan the Ape Man, the movie went from being called Once Upon a Love to being retitled Fantasies. After all, she's the face, the figure, the fantasy. I guess that was more enticing to audiences than she's the jailbait. Want to make John Derrick's dialogue sound better? Dub it in a foreign language that you can't understand. And with Peter hootin', let's just pretend it's a sequel to the Doctor Strange movie he starred in. But alas, we must go from sex fantasy to fantasy epic.
One day they'll put me in a film, a proper full-length job. Until then, I'm just stuck with this sort of stuff.
With a touch of Monty Python. What the hell is with the trailer guy now?
The most terrifying thing you ever saw is coming to babysit for you tonight.
He's still in full slasher movie mode. He's going insane! Actually, the trailer for Time Bandits is very funny, as it features yelling at the narrator for not getting the movie right and mentioning other movies.
You went to Star Wars for the droids. You went...
Now what?
I went to Star Wars for the Cantina Band, thank you very much. The beautiful visuals here tell us this will be a Terry Gilliam delight, as the movie was the second in his trilogy of imagination, which included Brazil and The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. That's all the plot I need.
Just a minute. What about the plot?
The what?
The plot!
Hell, I'm expecting Graham Chapman to come in and put a halt to this by saying, Stop that, that's silly. Someone else has to take over narrating.
Time Bandits is an awfully good film. We have worked ever so hard on it.
Oh yeah? Then why isn't it in 3D? It's a great trailer because you can't tell what it's about, but has such a great back and forth with the trailer guy that's very funny, and along with the visuals, you can see how it made audiences curious enough to see it, as it was a critical and box office hit. This one though, not a hit. It's The Pursuit of D.B. Cooper, which I'm sure is a very straightforward account of the mysterious true crime D.B. Cooper hijacking.
Baby, it's me, I'm back! To some, he was an outlaw. To others, a hero.
By that I mean the movie version is a zany comedy. Starring Treat Williams as Cooper and Robert Duvall, it's a good old boy chase film. But with production problems, bad reviews, and low box office, even the poster screams contrabulous fabtraption of Professor Horatio Huffnagel. I can't see why this bombed.
The Pursuit of D.B. Cooper. Rated PG.
It clearly put the story of D.B. Cooper in the Smokey and the Bandit universe. D.B. Cooper clearly could have sued for libel, because the next movie, Absence of Malice, taught me all about that.
Here comes our boy, Michael Colin Gallagher.
Are we investigating Gallagher?
And Gallagher should have sued because Paul Newman is miscast as the comedian. Absence of Malice, which was nominated for 3 Oscars, is Sidney Pollack's film about what happens when a false story incorrectly links a warehouse owner with murder. This is totally dated. Libel and slander laws were thrown out the window when we invented social media.
We may say whatever we like about Mr. Gallagher, and he is powerless to do us harm.
Right. The only thing that matters is outrage. Run this story. What's the problem?
Everything they said was accurate, but none of it was true.
Yes, but it's got a clickbaity headline. The movie is still relevant today, as it's often discussed in journalism courses, and it feels like a dire warning if anything else.
You say somebody's guilty, everybody believes you. You say he's innocent, nobody cares.
But it's really a love story.
She writes the story that sets him up. He writes the book on getting even.
Yes, he's gonna get her back by digging up her own old tweets. This is why I'd love to spend the rest of my life offline and on the open road. Far less stressful. It's about time we got Spielberg's Duel from the truck driver's point of view. This is Road Games, obviously a better title than Roadhead.
Aren't you kind of young to be hitchhiking out here all by yourself?
Aren't you kind of old to be picking me up?
It's 1981. Fantasies and private lessons told us there are no rules. In all seriousness, Road Games is awesome, and a wildly underrated Hitchcockian Australian thriller from director Richard Franklin about a truck driver who thinks he may have witnessed a serial killer and begins to follow the man. It is De Palma's blowout levels of not being appreciated in its day, but gaining a lot of respect over the years. It sadly bombed in Australia and in the States, but it's one of Jamie Lee's best films of her horror movie era. In this time, it didn't matter if it was a slasher movie, a true crime movie like Death of a Centerfold, the Dorothy Stratton story, or Road Games, someone is trying to kill Jamie Lee Curtis.
If someone doesn't stop soon, there won't be anyone left alive to play.
And everyone else on the planet, apparently. Which, wow, speaking of Death of a Centerfold, which aired on television in early November of '81, in theaters there was also Peter Bogdanovich's They All Laughed, released in New York the same month, and featuring Stratton in a supporting role. It's a romantic comedy that has a fascinating backstory, in which 20th Century Fox pulled the movie's release after bad test screenings, prompting Bogdanovich to distribute the film himself, using $5 million of his own money. Sadly, the movie didn't do well, and like Heaven's Gate, One from the Heart, and Cruising, it's cited as being part of the end of the New Hollywood era, but like those other movies, has gotten reappraisal over the years, with director Quentin Tarantino praising the film, and Bogdanovich sticking by it and calling it the happiest time of his life. At least it's about everyone laughing, and isn't selfish like only when I laugh. Hey, you should be good as long as you're not laughing at Stanley Cooper Smith from Evil Speak.
Everyone's known a boy like Stanley Cooper Smith.
Evil Speak.
I assure you, I never knew anyone like Clint Howard who would try to murder me in school. The film is a gender-switched Carrie, where let's just say Stanley is not having a good time in school.
An outcast with no one to turn to.
So he's gonna create Kelly LeBrock to do all his revenge for him. It's one of the video nasties, and I'm sure outraged parents loved the fact that Anton LaVey liked the movie. I don't know what this outrage is about. This movie could bring Christians and Satanists together, because the trailer is awesome. Hey, Jennifer had snake powers to get revenge against bullies. Stanley has 80s computer graphics. This is why parents were right to be concerned about the Commodore 64 and creepy taglines.
Remember that little kid you used to pick on? Well, he's a big boy now.
Oh man, does that mean he's too old for the private lessons? But no one is too old for Looney Tunes, so we got the release of the Looney Bugs Bunny movie.
Get ready for big fun.
Prepare yourself, Rabbit!
Or at least big compilation fun. It's the second Looney Tunes compilation film after the 1979 Bugs Bunny Roadrunner movie. The film features new footage to string the old cartoons together into a few different plots, despite the lack of knowledge from the narrator.
Watch for Friz Freeling's Looney Bugs Bunny movie.
Weird. Bugs Bunny looks an awful lot like Pepe Le Pew there, idiot. Obviously, it's the story of Yosemite Sam using the same computer program as Clint Howard to get revenge on Bugs. I used to watch this one a lot, along with Daffy Duck's Quackbusters, as this one parodies the Untouchables, the Oscars, and with zero basketball. Just throwing it out there, the next movie probably doesn't have cartoon sports either.
Milos Forman, Academy Award-winning director of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, brings you The People of Ragtime.
It might be too soon to advertise your movie the same way Cimino advertised Heaven's Gate.
Now, from the director of The Deer Hunter, Michael Cimino's Heaven's Gate.
And Ragtime also had a giant budget that its box office couldn't match. Though this one did get decent reviews and was nominated for 8 Academy Awards, plus it was the final film of James Cagney, though the trailer is mostly just describing the characters.
Elizabeth McGovern is the beautiful chorus girl who became the mistress of millionaires and the center of a sex scandal.
Damn, even at the turn of the century there was still a problem with sex tapes. Ooh, please continue. The hell? Did I just watch the whole movie? Is it over? Okay, here's some clips of the movie.
It was a time when a nation lived out its wildest fantasies.
Oh yeah, then where the hell is a showering Bo Derek? Though this one has murder.
When a sexual obsession triggered the murder of the century.
But we're not gonna let that stop this party. Woohoo! It's the turn of the century and we're drunk and bored. The movie is from the point of view of a black pianist and is about the good old days.
It was the beginning of an incredible time.
He says that after a shot of the Klan? If you ask me, this party needs some Led Zeppelin.
Bad time. Good time. Ragtime.
Good time, bad time, you know I've had my share. When my woman left home for a brown-eyed man, well, I still don't seem to care. And since we started the month with a slasher film, might as well end the month with one too.
Run for your life.
I'm tired of running. How many of these killers are there? Just Before Dawn is one of the great ones, though, and features Greg Henry and George Kennedy.
So that when you don't come back, I'll know how to fill out the report.
Damn, never mind the killer, the people here are dicks! The movie is directed by Jeff Lieberman, who also directed one of my favorites, Blue Sunshine. This was considered for release by Universal, but dropped and then later released independently, resulting in low box office, but good reviews due to its cinematography and suspense.
Lay violence, danger, and death.
Well, if they're stupid enough to try crossing that bridge, you horny narrator.
The heat of their bodies was the magnet that would draw the terror to them.
True, everyone should know that. We've already established the trailer guy has his dick out. Mike Kellen is here too, so that means Angela is the killer, or something else.
If only they could die in their sleep.
And then Wes Craven took out his idea pad. Seriously, does every horror film this year predict Elm Street? Doesn't matter. The world is gonna end anyway due to robot romances. Because when we come back, it's December and we finally get heart beeps.
Mommy, I want...
Welcome to December, but before you get too excited, not everyone is gonna have a good Christmas. Whew, that's tough. I'm sure he'll be fine.
You think I'll ever walk again? No. Regain the use of my arms? No. Or my hands? No.
Thanks for the good bedside manner, Doc. Whose Life Is It Anyway is another one with an interesting backstory. Richard Dreyfuss was apparently so heavy into drugs in the movie that he doesn't even remember making it. But even with that being said...
After Lights Out, she snuck me out. We went skateboarding. Only trouble was, I was the skateboard.
It's Richard Dreyfuss, so he's still great in it, even if...
Hey man, this needs tuning up, you know.
When she wind up her bottom, she go like a rock.
Even if you can tell he's a little high. Director John Badham wanted to shoot the movie in black and white, and it was intended to be converted into such, which is why, even though it was released in color, the movie has very muted colors. The film is a dark comedy about a man who wants to be discharged so he can die. Seems like a hard sell.
The internationally celebrated drama, acclaimed by New York and London audiences, is now the motion picture event of the year.
It didn't do very well. I think parents were more interested in seeing the next movie.
Universal Pictures proudly presents a very special motion picture.
Friday the 13th movies are getting pretentious. Oh wait, it's on Golden Pond, the most elderly movie of the year.
It's so beautiful. Everything's just waking up. My, oh my, you have on a tie.
I hear you turned 80 today.
The film is a family drama about a grumpy old man, his estranged relationship with his daughter, and his bonding with her boyfriend's son. Seems ripe for melodrama.
I guess I'd be delighted to have you abuse my daughter under my own roof. Would you like the room where I first violated her mother?
Plus, Henry Fonda is pretty damn funny in it. It was the second highest grossing movie of '81, and won some Oscars for Best Screenplay, Best Actor Henry Fonda, and Best Actress Katharine Hepburn. And it has some good old-fashioned morals.
What do you do out there in California?
Cruise chicks.
What do you do with them when you have them?
Suck face.
I am running out of ways to reference Private Lessons again. Oh, thank you, a boat accident. I can reference Sleepaway Camp. And think of how much more money it would have made if there was a shark in the water.
Want to dance? Or would you rather just suck face?
Or if we saw them banging. Oscar season continues too with the Warren Beatty epic Reds, a film which won him Best Director at the Academy Awards and a Best Actor nomination.
You're gonna go to waste in Portland. Come to New York.
What is?
What does that mean?
You got a little, something on your face there. The trailer surpasses The Prowler for longest trailer of the year. Makes sense. The movie is over 3 hours long. It received critical acclaim, but made only a little bit of profit, and is the story of journalist and communist activist John Reed and Diane Keaton singing.
I don't wanna play in your yard if you...
See, Annie Hall taught us that if you have Diane Keaton singing and kitchen shenanigans, you will win some Oscars. And a touch of Jack Nicholson helps too.
Oh, what do you think I should be?
The center of attention.
And with my face on the $1 bill. It can't be a historical epic without a love triangle.
You're a lying Irish whore from Portland and you used me to get Jack Reed to marry you.
If you wanted me on my back, all you had to do was ask. Most of the time here, I can't tell if this is a trailer or just random scenes from the movie. There's not a lot of flow to it, just slapping.
Where are you going? You're not going any...
Damn, is this whole movie about people wanting to kill Warren Beatty and Jack being awesome?
I'd rather be with a fighter who wants to change the world than a critic who wants to mourn it.
Too soon. I'm still not over the bad reviews for The Postman Always Rings Twice. The film is all about revolution, and of course the events that led to Rocky Balboa putting a stop to the Cold War in '85. This place seems dangerous.
Revolution is dissent. Always. You don't rewrite what I write.
Fixed the toilet! Plus, if there were horses not traumatized by Heaven's Gate, don't worry, we got some more battle scenes here that'll get even Mr. Ed a therapist. And that was Reds. I'm sure it wasn't politically divisive in '81. Which is why we need General Patton back in here to put the values back into Reds and in the Prowler.
I've been informed that Bunker Hill Academy is to be closed.
Unfortunately, he was too late. The Prowler killed most of the staff. Taps is about kids at a military school who take over the place when the man tries closing it down.
I want a meeting with General Bench behind your back. Stay where you are, Sheriff.
And it's kind of awesome. Imagine toy soldiers if it was the kids who took over the school. It was the first feature for Sean Penn, and the second for Tom Cruise, obviously put in military school as punishment for giving our lead the fire idea in Endless Love. It doesn't show the best part, which was Tom Cruise going batshit insane in the last act. The movie has one hell of a climax, and a trailer that makes you want to see more.
What in God's name did they teach you in here?
Math. But while most grandparents were still seeing On Golden Pond, there may have been a few that went to see Buddy Buddy.
This is the story of two men who met on the off-ramp.
And then they started putting dead fish in their cars as pranks. Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau seem very happy to be in this film.
I have a nervous stomach because of my wife. We're separated. 3 months this Thursday.
We're doing The Odd Couple again, aren't we? That is, if Felix was still separated and depressed, yet if Oscar was a hitman who kills people with the mail and bowls of cereal. Being a huge fan of these two actors, and their movies like The Odd Couple and Grumpy Old Men, what I remember most about this forgotten movie is seeing it in the video store and thinking, what the hell is Buddy Buddy? The movie was the last film to be directed by Billy Wilder, which is sad because the reviews were so bad, Gene Siskel called it the worst film of the year. But why?
What are you gonna do? Walk across the street and throw up all over him?
Perhaps the movie would have been a bigger hit if he actually did do that. I'll give it this though, it's probably better than Odd Couple Part 2. Odd Couple 2 had 0 shootouts or political assassinations, and it sounds like the trailer guy likes it.
Jack and Walter, the most arresting comedy of the year.
Okay, well, he's drunk, but thanks for the flowers. As Buddy Buddy shows us, not every movie this month was an Oscar contender. Same with the next one.
Egypt, land of the pyramids. A nice place to visit.
Right? Like in Sphinx, come to Egypt, you will get so laid. What's the problem here?
But, would you want to die there?
I don't want to die anywhere. Dawn of the Mummy is an Italian horror film featuring dumb young people who got tired of searching the abandoned Camp Blood and moved on to pyramids. See, they even sound dumb when they're being strangled. There is great makeup effects and gore, so of course that means it's a video nasty, but it looks really cool.
No one is safe. Nothing can stop him.
Yes, no one is safe from the unholy terror of Day for Night. The movie is like The Mummy meets Lucio Fulci's Zombie, with some dancing.
And their quest for vengeance knows no limits.
Care to read my fortune? These mummy zombies all look like they've been shit out the devil's ass. Just imagine Dawn of the Dead in Egypt. I mean, one of the shots kinda looks like a George Romero poster. Four Friends, however, will have significantly less gore, as it predates The Big Chill and Windy City in 1960s reminiscing.
All the boys love Georgia.
Because they're wild about the World of Coca-Cola Museum. Man, these guys are wanting to bang this Georgia girl hard.
My days as a virgin are drawing to a close.
Almost as believable as Jane saying she was a virgin in Tarzan the Ape Man. This movie comes in with big, throbbing, one-time band camp energy. What a time to be alive!
It was a time when everyone was forever beautiful, young, and free.
Oh, good job. You just sent him off to outlaw dancing. Plus, like Body Double and Elm Street 3, it makes you ask, what the hell ever did happen to Craig Wasson? Yeah, sure, there was some drama going on in the 1960s, but I'm here for the shenanigans.
You're weird, you know that?
The movie wasn't a hit, but got good reviews because it speaks to everyone.
4 friends, the story of all our lives.
Damn right. I remember hanging onto the roof of a car, pissed off about who knocked up the girl we were all banging. Sadly, the next film wasn't a hit either, and I do mean sadly, because Pennies from Heaven is great.
Once upon a time, America was singing the blues.
Yes, 1987, when no one left the stage without singing the blues. The film is a musical set in the Depression era, starring Steve Martin in a wildly different kind of role at the time. It got 3 Oscar nominations and was well liked by critics, but for whatever reason, it bombed hard. Martin would later attribute that to, well, maybe audiences didn't want to see him in a drama back then, especially with it being his second starring role after The Jerk, both of which co-starred Bernadette Peters. Not everyone loved the film though. Fred Astaire spoke out against it, calling it vulgar and saying, hey, the 1930s was an innocent time. Right? Nothing bad happened in the 30s. No one was depressed during the Great Depression. Even the trailer shows how gorgeous this movie is, and though it is a more serious film, there's still some Steve Martin zany moments.
Alright, do it! Bees, do it! Little birdies in the trees, do it!
Damn it, Steve, you can't juggle cats in this one. And if I've learned anything, it's that if you got a movie in the 70s or 80s that features Jessica Harper, odds are you'll find an underrated gem. Oh, and did I mention Christopher Walken is in it too?
As you've never seen him before.
See the great event of 19...
I have a lovely female singing voice. Wow! Directed by Herbert Ross, and with cinematography by Gordon Willis of the Godfather trilogy, Annie Hall, and Manhattan, it's a movie where every frame is sometimes literally art. Between this and Shock Treatment, you got 2 musicals in '81 that are hidden gems. Speaking of 2 movies out at the same time, we had 2 Jane Fonda movies in theaters in December, and while On Golden Pond was the hit, Rollover wasn't, but both did feature motorboating. This is a political thriller from Alan J. Pakula starring Fonda and Chris Christopherson.
There are risks involved.
I've never been afraid of risks.
That's why I did Monster-in-Law. The plot is something about corporate espionage and economic conspiracies. It didn't get Oscar gold, but the Razzies nominated Chris Christopherson, which again means he's probably good and sexy.
It's not how you play the game, it's how you win it.
By raw dogging it. Ooh, the stocks aren't the only thing getting a rise in this movie. The film features more typing and printing than absence of malice, and there's possibly a killer.
First thing tomorrow, I want all the locks in the house changed.
Again, god damn it, the Prowler! This movie is like porn to Scrooge McDuck.
The most erotic thing in their world was money.
Yes, the hottest motion picture since Odd Job painting women gold. After that much drama, audiences were ready for another horror film, this time mummyless.
I will show you things that you'll never see.
You spilled milk on the camera.
In this peaceful New England village, something happened.
No, she locked her keys outside the car. She's gonna miss seeing Santa Claus. Ghost Story is the perfect follow-up to 4 Friends. It also has Craig Wasson in it. Georgia gave birth to a demon. Maybe Fred Astaire thought this was better than Pennies from Heaven. After all, he's in it. Also, it was Astaire's last movie. The hell? Was his thoughts on Pennies from Heaven his dying words? This movie doesn't seem happy at all.
The house, the fear, the nightmares, the vengeance.
The Shadow knows the answer to all of these things. Ghost Story was a decent hit. It was the 3rd most successful horror film of 1981, and was cool seeing Astaire in a movie that's certainly an against type of film. But seriously, what did happen to Craig Wasson? Dude made some cool movies back in the day. Whether horror films or thrillers, he picked some stylish ones. He later made a career out of reading books on tape, but I, for one, am all for a Craig Wasson movie comeback. Also check out Ghost Story. It's a cool flick. Though it probably didn't scare audiences as much as the next movie because it's finally Heart Beeps time!
It's great to be here. Of course, at my age, it's great to be anywhere.
I am proud to be the only critic that loves this movie. Heart Beeps is the Andy Kaufman, Bernadette Peters robot love story, as if you couldn't tell.
Being programmed for charm was probably an extra expense.
Yeah, sure, creepy at times, but that's one of the reasons I love this unapologetically awkward movie. It made for 2 underrated Bernadette Peters movies in a month. Critics hated the movie. Andy Kaufman told people he'd give them their money back, but I'm reminded of Kevin Thomas's review for Heaven's Gate, where he said he'd never felt so alone in loving a movie, and that's how I feel about this film. It's a beautiful romantic satire that goes through a whole lifetime's worth of romance, family, and death in just mere days due to the robot's battery power. It has genuinely sad moments too. And great satire too, like the comedy sidekick actually being a robot programmed to be a comedian. They even say in the movie that his jokes are bad because he was only working on half battery power. Plus there's a villain tank that's like something out of RoboCop.
While waiting, you may enjoy a brief musical interlude.
I'm sorry, this movie makes me laugh. Even the trailer has selling points.
There's action, adventure, romance, raccoons.
Raccoons? Sold! And it's just in time for Christmas. On the plus side, it got an Oscar nomination for makeup, so there's that. Need another underrated comedy released the same week? Neighbors has got you.
In a not-too-distant suburb, on a very quiet street.
Trailers back then loved describing towns. Neighbors is one of those great dark comedies like The Burbs or Nothing But Trouble that might as well be in a horror movie universe. I love this movie, but the darkness of it does put a weird cloud over the film. The movie was John Belushi's last film before his death 2.5 months later. But with Aykroyd as Belushi's new neighbor, he brings the right amount of weirdness to this.
So, what do you say, neighbor?
He's got bodies in the basement. Originally, Belushi was going to play the crazy neighbor, but the two decided to switch roles, which I love that decision because it gave Belushi a chance to shine in the straight man role, and he did awesome at it. This is an eerie film. Even the trailer has these sinister scenes made even more bizarre by how quiet they are, and then things like this happen. I'm not convinced this isn't a horror film. Seriously, if you love movies like Bob Balaban's Parents, give this one a shot, you'll dig it. And as a Belushi fan, it's a great showcase for his range, like Continental Divide was earlier in the year. With these movies being released on December 18th, that's awfully close to the day I was born, so which movie was #1 at the box office on my birthday, December 20th?
Burt Reynolds in Sharky's Machine.
Hell yes, it was a Burt movie! In Sharky's Machine, Burt Reynolds is a vice cop going against the mafia, and he does so without even challenging them to a cross-country race. The movie was also directed by Reynolds, and was his best movie of '81, and one of his best movies in general.
Sharky, vice.
Low-life creep.
See, comedy or thriller, Burt will get slapped. I sense a communication problem. He is a tough-as-nails cop. Nothing another punch to the face can't solve. It's a tense thriller that will shove you out a window.
Nobody leans on Sharky's Machine.
No one leans on Sharky, or your brains will be plastered on the pavement. Every Burt fan should have a copy of Sharky's Machine in their jacket. Don't believe me? Mine is so thick that it's bulletproof! We are finally at the last film of the year, a movie released on Christmas Day, sure to bring in the holiday cheer.
Johnny Tuna?
An air traffic controller who's losing control.
Ah yes, the Chevy Chase comedy Modern Problems, where he clearly caused a bunch of planes to crash. Nothing a little mannequin sex can't solve. I See Dabney had enough of Henry Fonda's old man ways and needs a drink or two. What a bad day they're having.
Until a nuclear shower gives him the power, and a green light
happens to the best of us. The movie reunited Chevy Chase with director Ken Shapiro after The Groove Tube, though it was edited down to a PG rating, which made the filmmakers feel their best bits were cut. It'll still be a funny Christmas, though.
The funniest Christmas ever.
Just like the time Cousin Eddie's dick exploded during Christmas dinner. I think there may have been some extra ingredients here.
Chevy Chase.
Yeah! And that was probably cocaine. The movie was still a hit at the box office, and I loved Chevy Chase, so I remember watching this one as a kid, and it's got a trailer that seems weird enough.
It'll glow on you.
Merry Christmas! Come see Chevy Chase get a vase dropped on his head. And that does it for the films of 1981. So many slasher movies. So many female struggle movies. What a long video. I am so tired. So very, very, very tired. There were plenty of classics that came out this year, from Raiders to Escape from New York and Excalibur, Werewolf in London, Stripes, Arthur, Scanners, Friday the 13th Part 2. But let's give a special nod to the movies that don't get talked about enough and you should definitely check out. Such as The Burning, Cutter's Way, Thief, Nighthawks, Dead and Buried, Miss 45, Mommy Dearest, Shock Treatment, They All Laughed, Road Games, Pennies from Heaven, Neighbors, Heartbeeps, Sharky's Machine, Maniac, and my pick for the best movie of the year, Brian De Palma's Blowout. And worst movie of 81? I don't know, probably Saturday the 14th. It can fight it out with Endless Love and Tarzan the Ape Man. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get at least 3 hours of sleep before I begin work on the 1982 in film episode. But I couldn't leave here without showing the final rule of the private lessons.
Private lesson number 4, keep your elbows off the table.
Monsieur.
The hell? That seems normal compared to the other rules.